Howdy, howdy.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another Saturday night. My name is BaronEngel, and
Mine's not.
Yeah, this is a Cared One, and thank you for joining us for your Saturday night.
Yeah, so glad to have you folks here. Just before we get started, one little brief thing. We are using different streaming software tonight. We went from OBS, Open Broadcast Software Classic, to OBS Studio, which is the current one, and seeing how that works. I've had a couple of issues due to Logitech camera drivers. So if things cut out right in the middle, or you start seeing green instead of cameras, what we will do is we'll take down the stream and be back in about 2 minutes on OBS Classic.
Right. So we have a fallback plan, but there are some nice things about OBS Studio. It uses a lot less processor.
Right, about 1/5 as much processor, etc., and has nice little, fade-ins and fade-outs and this. And just makes it a little bit slicker.
Yeah, and we can do some nice things with some camera fades and everything. It just makes the whole presentation look a little bit nicer, which is the whole idea here, is to constantly be improving the show so you guys get a better entertainment value out of this.
Okay, cool. Muddifer, how would you describe the audio is different in what way?
Yeah.
Just so we know.
Yeah.
It is going through some of the built-in filters, so we'll see what happens. But speaking of filters, first thing we need to do is filter his brain. Baron works best with brain lubricant, and he had a request, and tonight's request is
mint juleps, because my wife, Smudge, has been growing us an excellent little herb garden in our apartment.
This is mint, people. Mint.
Not mint syrup, not
And not funny oregano.
No. This is mint. And when you see those recipes for mint juleps, and they say put 4 or 5, mint leaves. No, easily, at least about a dozen, I say.
Right. Now this is called a muddler. It's basically a mortar and pestle type thing, except if you look at the tip there, you can see, and maybe you can see there, it's got like waffle pattern, so you can grind things up. The idea is to crush leaves and release the oils, which is exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah. And we're going to make Patina miserable tonight. Too bad, so sad.
Yes, you don't like mint. Hooray. So put the mints into, usually it's a silver cup. I don't have silver cups, at least not the Kentucky Derby type. I have a Moscow Mule cup. So this is for Moscow Mule style.
Yes.
And so put about a dozen leaves in. This is granulated sugar, not the confectioner's sugar, because this is going to be used not only to sweeten, but also it's sort of a grinding medium. It's going to help smash up the leaves. I'll put about that much.
It's got a slight abrasive, so it's almost like a lapping compound. It'll help grind up and release those oils. And of course, the oils will stick to the sugar.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. All right. So now you take this and just go grind. You smell that already.
Hello, Octavio. We're just making up some drinks. We're doing Moscow Mules.
Well, actually, we're doing
in a Moscow Mule cup.
Yes. Yeah, this is part of a family of drinks called Bucks, which have a single spirit and a single main mixer. Moscow Mule, it's vodka and ginger ale, and this is bourbon and not much else.
Okay,
Dusk Watch.
Yeah, Dusk Watch. We have done old fashions on the show, and it's one of my favorite cocktails. So if you keep tuning in, it'll show up eventually.
So next we add bourbon. Use decent stuff here. Let's see about that. We want to take it nice and easy. Not too much bourbon. You don't want to overdo it. You really don't want to Oops.
Well, it was an old bottle, anyways.
That was.
Here, give me that. I'll take that for you.
Sort of give it a little stir, mostly to get, not only to mix it up, but you also want to see if you can, free up some of the good stuff that's gotten, caught on the bottom of your muddler. Don't you hate it when things get caught on the bottom of your muddler? I sure do.
Yeah, Cold Silver Patina is allergic to mint.
There we go.
Coming up.
All right. And now we have simple syrup, which is basically a very heavily saturated, just ordinary sugar and water. 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water. Heat it up and dissolve it, and then just a little bit there for sweetening. Because that's really what a mint julep is a sweet alcoholic mint drink. And then need a little stir. Put that down there on the tray. And then let's see. Oh, yes, ice.
Yes. Don't you drink cold.
Exactly. Aha! Tried to fall down, but didn't. There we go. Lots of ice, because this is a drink for hot summer days. Okay, and would you also pass over the bitters?
Yes, I shall.
Okay, this is optional. This is Angostura bitters, which is a very concentrated liqueur. You want just a little.
Just a couple little dashes of it. Just
That's all.
kind of rounds out the complexity of the flavor.
Right, and then optional. Some people add water. Some people add club soda. Some people add nothing. I am going to add just a little bit of club soda.
Adds a little fizz to it. Helps even out the.
Just a splash. And then reach for your muddler again. Give it a little stir. See how that's frosting up there? Yeah, that's what we want. Ice cold. And then we say, your mint juleps, sir.
Thank you. I almost feel like I should be wearing one of those, big straw hats you wear at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, folks.
All right, and that is the brain lubricant of the week.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
All right.
Is my shirt blue? Yeah. Normally it's, shall we say, it was 220 volt because, because 110 won't cut it.
Nope.
I'm being nice to you guys. Yeah. So I do have iSafe shirts, but I do enjoy not needing a light source except for my own shirt. Speaking of self-light source, we'll get to this.
No one's interested in that. I mean, it's a boring gray towel.
Garnish.
Yes. Presentation means everything.
Well, the other thing is having a couple of unsmashed leaves around top gets the mint into your nose every time.
Yeah, Patina's screaming in my head. That's just too bad. Shouldn't deal.
Yeah, exactly. Even the rich Corinthian julep.
Yes.
No, actually, everybody needs a break from their muse once in a great while. So,
all right.
Do you approve?
I approve.
Excellent. All right, let's see what you folks approve of. How about some art? You have been busy, Baron. Here's what you have been doing. I say, click. All right, this is...
Thank you, Orca.
Pretty much. Yeah, and it probably has, yes.
Yeah.
I do declare, these are the Kitimark Crusaders when they have grown up and surpassed the stage of just being Crusaders. They are a full-on army now.
Yeah, that's right. Well, this is actually for Sunny Starbright, and this is one of his Patreon rewards, and he asked to actually get a couple months rolled together, and it's, if you guys know the artist A-Troll, if you don't, Google him. Great artist out of Hungary. And he did a thing called Apple Bloomers, which was this kind of magical girl anthro idea using the Cutie Mark Crusaders. And Sonny wanted me to do my take on them. And I said, okay, do you want me to do them at the age they kind of look like in, the strip, which is maybe about like late elementary school, junior high? Or do you want to have them more like, say, late high school, early college? And he said, let's go for, college.
Legal.
Yeah. So that's what we got there.
And because it's a minty hot type of day.
Yeah, that's right.
This is something you did last stream, wasn't
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I finished and cleaned it up a little bit and everything. And this was for one of their Patreon reward. And it gets that time of the year when a nice cold glass of iced tea really hits the spot.
Indeed.
Andy Carrot, I don't know why, but if you look at the original art that April did, he had Sweetie Belle sitting on this like little Buddha cloud. And so all the reference I had her sitting on the little Buddha cloud, so she got the Buddha cloud.
It's a World of Warcraft thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, because it is a very hot summer day.
Yes.
And getting hotter.
Yes, and this was for another one of my patrons. In fact, I think during the stream tonight, Cold Silver, and that was he wanted to have my take on Anthro Churly, and he wanted, because the summertime's coming, Churly in a bikini, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be fascinating if, like, say, old Button Mash and Rumble ran into Churly at the beach, and they've never thought of Miss Churly this way. And, it was kind of reflecting back to an event that happened to me when I was a kid, and I was at the beach, and I ran into my 5th grade assistant teacher.
Got it bad, got it bad, got it bad.
Yeah, that was at that moment in my life when I started thinking, you know what? baby girls aren't icky.
In other words, when you started getting carbonated.
Yes.
All right.
Now, I cannot lay claim to that term, carbonating hormones. That's Bloom County line from the 1980s.
Indeed. So, what's going on here?
Well, now, as folks may remember, this is from my Equestria Dreamscape, of which there will be new Equestria Dreamscape stuff going up on Patreon. I've been knocking out several really big commissions recently, and so that has used up some of my time. I need to get back to this. It'll happen. But, as you may remember, Scratch has sent off letters to several people that she wants to have come down to her place in Fort Fardale for the kind of like, little artist gathering for a few weeks, and she wants to hire Patina and Carousel to teach her pole dancing and her troupe pole dancing. And since I'm pretty good at playing around clouds, she said, hey, have him come down. He might be able to show our guys some tricks on doing special effects. So that's going to be the next big building dream arc in my Equestria Dreamscape.
At least the parts that don't involve nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Yes, and speaking of Carol.
Yes. Well, before you try out any new piece of equipment, like an actual performance or anything, you want to test it, make certain it's not going to rip or tear or fail or does it bind
or blue screen
or chafe. Don't want to cause chafing.
Particularly, yes.
So
that could be painful.
Yes. So she'd gotten a new dancing outfit, and they will be eventually getting poles installed at the Bucking Mirror in Ponyville. So she's trying out the gear.
Yeah, something a lot of people don't realize is that poles typically for pole dancers are not like wax and they grab around them and slide around. They actually are set in ball bearings and the whole pole spins.
Yep.
Because otherwise, huge blisters on the hands are not very attractive.
Nope.
So more tests were necessary.
Yes, just make sure everything was working just right and everything. Could she move the way she normally would? Can she do all normal dance routines?
Hotsy.
Yes.
All right. Since we're on outfits, how about outfits that are not going to be on quite as much?
Well, after a hard day of practicing Wonderbolt's maneuvers and flight routines and everything like that, yeah, you're going to need, a good hot shower and everything like that. So we have Spitfire here, and I have been wanting to do this picture for quite a while and decided, you know what, I'm going to do this because I'd love to have prints of this at BaronEngel. And I'm planning to have it, the original in the art show there, because they have an art show at BaronEngel. That's very, very nice. So the work will be hanging there.
Outstanding.
And I will be at the Roan RPG booth, and we're looking to get our tickets purchased in next week or so.
Yes, and we also, was this from last week as well?
Nope. This was from someone who's in the chat. He's another one of my patrons, Tebow. Hey, Tebow. Glad you could join us tonight. And he asked for, this is actually for his May Patreon reward. He wanted Patina as Uhura from the original series. And she looks quite stunning.
It's a very natural outfit for Patina.
Mm-hmm. I'll be doing
Carbonate your captain.
I'll be doing another Patina tonight for Tebow as June Patreon reward.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Okay, what's this about?
Is Jarrell in the stream? Jarrell, are you there?
Not yet.
Okay. He's basically using his Patreon rewards to teach, give you time to practice doing digital art. And I am still struggling a bit with getting color correct. So what I'm doing is I'm very, very limiting my number of colors. And one of the things I'm doing right here is I used a toned background and did this as a black and white quick study, almost like a black and white charcoal drawing.
Yeah, additive and subtractive.
Right, and this is it's one of the Creatures Horizon Project, I think it was, video game from late last year, early this year, and it was kind of an interesting way to do it because he had this incredibly complex model, and I didn't have necessarily the best reference photo in the world to work with, so I did lots of, we're going to suggest more than actually try rendering details, so lots of things hidden in the shadows because it has these very dark areas and it has these light plates and everything. Definitely looks like someone's been studying Boston Research Laboratories.
Yes, it does look like one of their, a lot like one of their, working.
Project Horizon, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, yeah. This is what we call the Striders, what they call it in the game.
All right. So, nothing else to show. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Well, do we really want to waste time with that?
No. Okay. You folks don't want to see this.
Yeah. So, that's Caradwin's over here. He's been saving his Patreon rewards for months and months and months and months.
Close to 2 years.
Close to 2 years, and then some. And he basically put in for this piece, and this is kind of an alternate version of what could have happened with Do Ponies Dream of Magical Sheep?
Well, again, like Luna said, you know, I'm going to say Celestia has no power, you know, in the dream realm. That doesn't mean she's not going to try.
Mm-hmm.
And and again, this is of course this could also be one of, you know, Celestia's nightmares.
Yes. So you guys are getting to see the finished piece for the first time. Even my patrons on Patreon have not seen this, so you guys are the first on the block to see it. And then we have a little detail set, because this is actually a pretty large piece of artwork, so it's kind of hard to show some of the details that are in there. So we basically went and did a little detail moment shot here. It kind of shows Celestia a little bit more. So you can see it was lots of tricks trying to get her, because she is the light source in the picture.
You will not pass.
Yeah.
Out.
Well, very much what I was reminded was a scene of San Gamgees and yes,
with the file of Galadriel, with the light of the Silmaril of Arendelle.
Right, and that was exactly the kind of feeling I wanted to have. You know, even in this complete, you know, hopeless situation, there is light.
Wait. Oh wait.
Yeah. There, right there, this thing. It is a big piece.
It is, yeah. The foreshortening doesn't really show here. Okay, now I'm at the same depth here. So yeah, it's
it's 19 inches by 27 inches. So this is about as large as I can work for things basically just fall apart.
I'm gonna do this little trick here. We'll see how good the color rendition is on the cheap camera.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Let go, you. Let go.
No wanna.
Yeah, there we go. All the
Whoa,
cables going. Oh,
yes.
Okay. And of course,
see the world through the eyes of a drunk camera.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Let's say we're trying to tip away. There we go. Whoop.
Yep. And that's all colored pencil, and felt tip marker.
Yeah. Could you rotate a little bit here? Get a little bit of light on Luna.
Luna there. Luna has fallen.
Yeah. Yep. And there's her crown.
Mm-hmm.
The background here was based on several pieces of Hubble photographs. I wanted to get the space effect and the nebula effect, and so spent an inordinate amount of time bending in Baron's ear about reflection nebulae, emission nebulae, and the difference between hydrogen-2 emission lines and oxygen emission lines, and how fluorescence works in a vacuum. And he was on the clock while I was talking about that, so I don't go too crazy over it.
Yeah, that's why you may have seen on like Twitter and other places I actually posted study development pieces where I was saying, okay, is this what we're looking for? Oh no, we're looking for something else. Okay, fine. We changed. It has a certain sheen to it. One, from the wax of the color pencil, but two, I also sprayed multiple coats of UV-resistant acrylic clear coat over this to guarantee that the colors aren't going to fade over time.
All right, let's see. Let's click on this thing right here and go back to this so we can stop making people all woo.
Yes.
Yeah. There you guys are.
Yeah. I see you.
There we go. All right.
Okay.
So this is what you get when you save up. So when this is all matted, it's going to be about 2.5 feet tall and 3 feet and change wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be front and center downstairs.
Yeah, this is going to be a conversation piece.
Right. So that's old art.
Yes, let's make new art.
Let's make new art. Actually, he'll make new art, and I'll make new comments.
Yes. All right. So tonight we're doing Patreon rewards.
Mm-hmm. I have the power of control right here.
Yes. You have to attempt to Hey, Larsus. Glad you could join us.
All right.
Okay.
So whose reward is getting done first?
Oh, I'm going to do Tebow's first. Why? Just because.
Put this back down here too.
You
Protectify it.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Because it's not under glass yet.
Nope. Well, it's going to be under plexiglass when it's all
Yes.
done. All right.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm going to grab a little envelope over here and get myself a fresh piece.
All right. So what's Tebow getting done?
People's getting another patina.
And Bettina's gonna have to be on the outside watching because the power of julep prevents her
That's
from
okay.
interfering.
That's
Yeah.
okay. She provided me lots and lots and lots and lots of notes and photo ideas and reference and everything like that.
There we go.
So, and actually, we should also talk about a couple of things here. And that was last weekend. I was at University Arts You Create Day,
Oh yes.
which is a hands-on, to a certain extent, art fair. And I was asked to come in, and I sat at the Sanford pencil booth, and I did all kinds of drawing and demoed their materials and everything, and got a chance to talk to Mike Tobin, who is the current rep for our neck of the woods for Sanford. And he was very, very impressed with my work and what I could do. And he is forwarding my information along to Sanford headquarters for the Prismacolor team. So we'll have to see what comes of that. But University Art is also an important part of this stream because they actually do help sponsor the show.
Indeed. So we are going to do our duty here.
Pop.
Hello, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike from.
Mike often lurks.
All right.
Yeah. Change the glasses, Cold Silver. Thank you very much.
Very good. So, University Art is the art store that Baron worked at for 20 years, and it is a very high-end art supplies and framing store. Again, the framing department in particular is extremely impressive. They've handled original Rembrandt, original Picassos, and an original Nobel Prize. Again, I don't get my framing done anywhere else. They do museum quality work. And that includes things like, oh wait, this particular type of artboard here is acid free, so it's not going to turn everything yellow in about 20 years. Just little things like that. No dust gets caught underneath the glass when they do the matting. So as I said, it's no place else that I will take my art.
That's where this thing's going.
Indeed. They have Sacramento, Redwood City, and San Jose stores, and their website is getting turned into a proper e-commerce site.
Yes.
So at universityart.com. So we want to say thank you very much to them for sponsoring Baron and helping to get him the supplies that he needs to make all this wonderful art.
Make it happen.
Yes, and Mike from University Art sometimes pokes his head in to watch. Hi, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
So let's get to it here.
All right then. So, Tebow asked me because he likes patina. Who doesn't like patina? Patina's a wonderful character.
Yeah.
She's the one. Just ask her; she'll tell you. But he wanted me to draw her, and something I haven't actually drawn her in a while, and that is he likes her little sea lion outfit she has.
Yes, she has.
She has many outfits.
Yes, she almost. It's not quite a fetish, but not quite not for, mermaid outfits and that kind of thing. Tebow and Patina sitting in a tree. Going squeak and squee, squee, squee. Hi, so I went to that. Art fair that they had at University of Art. Harassed Baron a little bit, as is proper.
And you got a chance to meet the lady who will be our guest artist on July 8th.
That's right. That would be Jaya. Yeah, on July 8th, we are going to have a special event. Jaya is one of Baron's former co-workers.
And a good friend.
Yes, and a good person. And she works in a art medium called encaustic. And encaustics are, they're basically beeswax, resin, and your pigments. and and it involves a blowtorch. That's right. We're going to be seeing her make art with fire.
Mm-hmm. And hot plates and
Exactly.
knives.
Yeah, you basically you melt pots of pigmented beeswax, and you paint with it. It is it's a very, very old style, and in fact, if I remember right, some of the Egyptian tomb paints were applied with encaustics.
Mm-hmm. You'd be correct.
Yeah, and it's very, very cool.
That's just very, very hot, but it's cool
Indeed.
to watch.
So, so she's going to be doing some pony art because she got curious about this thing that Baron was into, and we sent her a couple of shows, and she wants to do Luna. So, going to get to see a unique art form, and Luna happening in wax.
And I think Luna's a good. I think will be a good character because she Jaya has a very whimsical style to her work, which I think will fit that kind of dreamscape type quality very, very well. Oh, and Zumi. Oh yes, Patina has lots of French-made outfits. Trust me.
Let's see, what was her website? I think it was waxworkswest.com.
I think that's correct.
I think her website is www.waxworkswest.com. I think that might or might not be correct. I do not know. I will find out.
Inquiry minds want to know. But yes, Jaya's a.
Then I go to here, and then I go to there, and then I clicks on this thing.
What's on this thing?
I clicks on this thing, and it says, yes, that's Jaya.
Mm-hmm. I'll be posting basically a speed paint video
Right.
that she put up called Joker, which is really. Yeah, she's going to be basically. We're going to set up a special studio downstairs for her to basically demo this.
Yep. There will be many fire extinguishers involved.
Yes.
And a very thick drop cloth because there's going to be half a dozen pots of highly pigmented melted wax. That would do really good things to my carpet if it got on it.
If that stuff got in there, you'd have to call Coit.
Yeah, well, if that stuff got in there, basically it's new carpet. So.
Yeah.
Not that there's a couple of interesting stains downstairs. I have no idea how they got there because we had the carpet put in new, and here's like, how did that happen?
Yeah. When did that occur?
Yeah. Jaya is the person on the lower right. There's like three in a row. Let's see. Here we go. It says right to us directly. That's Jaya.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes. It's a whole studio.
Yeah. She does teaching.
Right. Yeah, supplies all the materials and all the blowtorches that you could need because there must be blowtorches.
And heat guns.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
lots of heat guns. One of the things when she's teaching, she has to go over very clearly, and she has to make people sign a waiver. Is you understand that you are working with potentially dangerous materials here.
Yeah, you thought you hollered when the mean nasty waxing lady went rip. Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she'll have to set up about an hour before we go, at least minimum an hour before we go live, because she has to basically melt all the wax and bring it up to temperature and check all of her surfaces, make sure they're all prepped correctly before we go.
Yeah, Mad Badger, you may be able to get a PDF from Clear Skies. Hello, Corwin. How is Civ 6? I assume you're doing Civilization 6. How is that? I'm a bit curious. Civilization 5 was a bit of a disappointment for me. I mean, yeah, it had plugins and there was multiple equestrian nations and the whole bit and all that, but the gameplay just wasn't quite as. Civilization 4, I think, was the high point of the Civilization series. And what the heck, it was narrated by Leonard Nimoy.
Mm.
And the soundtrack won a Grammy.
Oh.
No video game soundtrack had ever won a Grammy before. So, that's a.
Yes.
I would have to learn how to play it. Baba Yetu, which actually is the Lord's Prayer in Swahili.
Ah.
And it was translated then, set to full chorus and full orchestra. And then, Leonard Nimoy, talking with all the quotes and instruction and all that. And it was a very much a high point in gaming.
Is this like having Morgan Freeman?
Well, 6 is on sale in Good Old Games. Yeah, I might get if you can get Civilization 4 inexpensively, for a couple $2-3. Oh my God, what a bargain!
Sounds like one of those games you can trip quite a few evenings to playing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Another kind of fun recent game. It's in beta right now. So from the people who brought you War Thunder, which there's a couple of folks here that are really, really, really into War Thunder. I think it's Crosscut. I think it is. It's from Gaijin Games. It's in open beta right now, and it's basically a Mad Max style, just a Mad Max cross with Team Fortress. You build cars out of junk, strap machine guns to everything, and go out and just brawl. It's open right now, open beta, which means free, and I grabbed it the other night, and it's been a lot of fun. Crossout, that's the one. Crossout. Yeah,
That's what Boris was.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's how I heard about it. Yeah, there's a YouTube channel, Life of Boris, which I've started following recently. Very, very entertaining. It's this fellow from Estonia, just doing silly stuff, and he has a couple of cooking recipes and and how to be a Slav, and has a great personality, fun stuff, and very entertaining, and some stuff that you can actually take away from it. I did a couple of his recipes, and they've turned out quite well.
Hey, Clear Skies.
Hey, Mad Badger wants to talk to you about
Yes.
PBS.
Yeah, whisper Mad Badger. Or Mad Badger, whisper Clear Skies. You guys, get together, do things.
Dig a room. Oh, wait a minute.
Really?
Well,
Hey, Sarah Anna. Okay, and since we got a couple folks that I know are new here tonight, one thing that's going to happen is basically on the hour mark, so we start at 5:30. At 6:30, we're going to take a 5-minute break. I am someone who doesn't have the best back in the world, so I need to get up and stretch every hour. And you guys should also do that too, so you don't end up like me with a bad back. So we'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back, and we will do this until 9:30. And then at that point, you're probably going to have gotten your fill of watching me draw, and I'm going to need to fill my stomach with lasagna.
Lasagna awaits and will not be denied.
No, it will not. Okay. And just so folks know, Clear Skies has gotten his table for BronyCon. So we will be selling Roan at BronyCon and talking to folks at BronyCon. We had a great time last year. It was a wonderful chance to be able to put faces to names and actually talk to folks about how the game was played, and we're going to be doing it all over again. Man, Summer, I'm grinding art here. I'm doing a Patreon reward for somebody.
And I'm torturing people with my piano practice. It's what I do.
Hey, Art Hobbit.
And
Civilization 4, $7.49.
that is a magnificent deal. If you have $7.49 to spend on entertainment, you're gonna get hundreds. Hey, Creature, it's been a while.
Yes.
How's your spiders?
Yes. How's your spiders?
How are your little tarantulas? Yeah.
Another reason why Patina will, is she doesn't like mint, and she's got a thing against spiders. She's got her flaws.
Hey, veteran, you just
Hey there.
ninja your way over here. Yeah, we're getting a nice little crowd here.
Nice crowd. Some of the usuals and some new folks. And to all the new folks, thank you for tuning in. My name is Baron. The other guy is Kierwin. We do this every Saturday night. All right, we can put some eyeballs in her.
Yeah, so who here is new to the channel? Because we'd love to say hi to you. I don't know if Jamar Buh Samurai is new, but if you are, Ray, and welcome. And if not, welcome back. Who else is new here? Oh, what'd you get, Clear Skies? What did you get?
Yeah, new guitar.
Is he gonna play it on Show Enough Art streams? Yeah, see, for folks that don't know, Clear Skies is the ringleader and master and author of the Roan role-playing game. Basically, diesel punk ponies that Baron did a great deal of artwork for the rulebook for.
And Cretius did some artwork for it, too.
And Cretius did, yes, and Catspaw did the layout, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of a family thing here.
Yeah, it's very much
There
a
we go,
joint
and
effort.
it looks about like this. Yeah. It has many pages, and the pages have many words. There's some
260 some odd pages.
There we go. Let's see here. Well, there's Stednick stuff. Stednick is a funky fellow. We like him. Let's see. Yeah, and I got to play Roan at a demonstration at BabsCon, where Robert, Clear Skies, showed up and was the game master. And we proceeded to do very many silly things that involved ponies flying through the air doing death from above with giant warhammers. It was a blast. Yeah, we were squishing rat things.
Yes. It's Squire Fender Stratocaster.
Ah, very good. Patina.
Yes, Patina is an NPC you can play in Roan.
Or play with, as the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So, send Clear Sky your shekels. I also think you can get this as a PDF through, was it Drive-Through RPG?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, no, RPG Now.
RPG Now. Do Drive-Through as well. All right, so Nozumi says, no hiccups so far. So far, the multicam is working with the new streaming software, yeah.
All right.
Again, just folks that have arrived recently, I've just made the switch over from OBS Classic to OBS Studio. That's the streaming software. And OBS Studio does not get along very well with rigs that have multiple Logitech branded cameras. It has to do with Logitech's drivers. But I think I beat it into shape. Of course, we're using 4 Logitech cameras here, so because they're really good for bang for the buck for decent video quality and features that I like, including having the little screw threads on the bottom that you could mount into a camera tripod with.
Yep, and apparently folks are liking the audio quality.
Yep. Yeah, I'll say they've got a couple of filters that remove a little bit of background noise, so we'll see how that works out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, audio. Let's see. Let's see. Whoop. There's the shotgun mics.
Because audio is very, very important. In fact, I think audio is underrated until you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, audio is hard. I would rather do video. So there's the. We use a pair of shotgun mics. I mic the. The speakers. There we go. Let's see if I can get a decent shot here. Kind of hard to see. So on my electric piano. Yeah, there it goes. Ooh, there we go. And see, for when we do 2 people doing art, I have a secondary station to control everything. There's the back of the microphone for that. And we got a couple of silly little, clip-on mics that we use when we use the air conditioner.
Which we'll be switching to probably
yes,
very soon.
Yeah, because it will get hot here.
Right. We have a lot of lights, and even with them being compact fluorescents or LEDs,
There's Baron's face cam. There's Baron's face. Yeah. So when Baron talks to you guys, he's actually talking to Applejack.
Yep.
Let's see.
Right there.
Yeah. It really helps, by the way, if you, to have
A target.
Say something to focus on, to speak to, because otherwise, your eyeballs are pointing off to the left or to the right, and it just looks kind of weird when
we don't feel like we're engaging you out there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we have actually the we're at the main camera. We have the basically the screen of all the text, so we can read the text. We're reading the text, and we're looking at the camera, and there's that feeling as if we're reaching out and saying, "Hey guys, welcome."
There you are. There's what you say. And there's the camera, so that when we're reading the text, we're actually looking at you guys, which again is a much more polite thing to do than staring off into space.
Yeah.
Except when I'm staring off to the OBS screen here. There's a couple computers down here.
Good night, Cretius. Thanks for dropping by.
Bye bye, Cretius. Bwah. Cretius. All right, enough silliness with Handycam here. Don't forget the sea pony. Well, you're going to get plenty of sea ponies pretty soon.
Yeah.
We'll see. People who don't want spoilers for for certain movies upcoming, cover your ears for the next 10 seconds. They are going underwater in Equestria in My Little Pony the movie.
And Windshear is just so happy in my head.
Shoo shoo be doo. It is the pineapple of my eye. Let's see what we got. Hello, Mr. McBrony.
Hello there.
So it looks like the encoding actually is one thing that may be a little bit different. Normally, this with OBS Classic, I had it set to use a total of about 1 megabit per second of bandwidth. And the way that Picarto works, they do not resample it. If I uploaded at a very high resolution, 1080p, then you guys would all get it at 1080p whether you wanted it that way or not. That's one of the reasons why we've stayed at 720p resolution, 1280 by 720 for the broadcast, is to try and accommodate folks who don't have tons and tons and tons of internet bandwidth.
Right.
Yeah. Right now, looks like we are doing 1200 to 1400k per second as opposed to 1000k per second. So it's using up a little bit more bandwidth, and that might be something I'll adjust down for next show, because I have to restart the stream if I was going to do that. So if it's a little choppy, you may be right at the edge of your streaming quality. That's right, Copper. We're going to show you how the sausage
That's right.
is made.
That's part of the process. I mean, it helps people understand. I know you put that one journal posting up about a year ago. Basically the day of a stream, what we have to do to make this happen, and this starts literally the day before. In the late afternoon, I send Carrickman here all of the image files so he can get them all converted, and in some cases now I'm pre-writing the. Starting to do pre-writing for postings, let people know about the notifications that's going to be happening, and
No worries, Sakana. It is a very natural thing. If folks have any curiosity about the equipment and rig, my DeviantArt, I've got a thing that says here's everything that we do. So you can find what doesn't work and improve upon it, and then tell us.
Exactly. One people who's in the chat, Larsis, on several occasions has been very helpful.
Catch you later, veteran.
All right.
Yeah, Larsis kind of does this for a living, or at least as a I don't know if it's for a living or for a jobby, but one of these days we're going to kidnap Larsis and say, show us what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's still a little bit of microphone echo in here. We've got a bunch of acoustic tile up. That's actually something that Dusty's been working on. I have a big walk-in closet that Dusty's starting to do a little bit of work in voiceover, particularly audiobook reading. Mm-hmm. And so he needs a really quiet, non-echoey place to work. So he's taken some of the instructions that you can get off of the internet about how to build good, high-quality, acoustic treatment. It's not soundproofing. It's just to get rid of the echoes and reflections. Using rock wool and fabric and just ordinary cheap lumber. And actually, I think he's going to be putting something like that up on his YouTube if he hasn't already. Mm-hmm. So
I know on Twitter he's been
might steal some of his panels.
Yeah. Saw actually an article on the BBC website this week that 0 decibels does not mean there's no noise. You can actually have negative decibels, and apparently Microsoft has built the quietest room in the world for testing equipment to see.
Yeah, well, 0 is a certain reference.
Right. Then they built a negative 25 decibel room, and apparently it's not a very pleasant place to stay in.
Well, yeah, it's very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's very creepy, yeah.
You start hearing things like the blood coursing through your own body. You're making more noise than the room tone is.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's sensory deprivation. Humans don't do well under that.
Nope.
I see, in fact, the guy who made the whole idea of sensory deprivation tanks was a gentleman named John Cunningham Lilly. Mm-hmm. And back in the 60s, he was doing, research into psychedelics. That means he was doing LSD. Mm-hmm. But he also invented the isolation tank, in which apparently a couple people went, stark raving bonkers. He also did a lot of research into communication between humans and dolphins, some of which involved tripping with dolphins. Previous reference to LSD. So, very interesting counterculture figure. Not as political as Timothy Leary, mm-hmm. but unlike Timothy Leary, who's mostly a political figure these days. Lilly was responsible for people starting to take dolphin intelligence seriously.
Mm-hmm. You are correct. It is a mermaid suit of sorts. It's actually, in this case, a little sea lion outfit she has.
Generic, everybody is always building newer and better stuff. Bell Labs did indeed used to have the best anechoic chamber in the world, but Microsoft has one-upped them.
Yeah, because
they have more money.
because they've discovered that there's all kinds of things where you go, that's not really making any noise. Yes, but it does build up resonance in a work area, and it can sometimes affect people, and it can also affect our pieces of equipment sometimes. So they're testing that.
Hey, Foxfire.
Hey there.
We were just talking about your favorite game a while ago. That would be War Thunder, and a new game from the same people, called Crossout. That as I've been doing a little bit of playing on, the kind of like. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Let's see if it will focus. Let's get some light on here. How close will you focus? That is Hula Hoop Fausticorn, or Hula Fausticorn. It's a invite that we made up for a party a while back.
Well, T-Bone, I'm glad to hear that. Because we really are trying to do our best, we can put our best foot forward, and it's a constantly improving and growing thing. It's...
Yeah, Mad Badger. Baron was actually just mentioning that. Apparently, April 1st, they put ponies with rocket launchers and machine guns into the game, and they made them for the aerial combat part, and they were the nastiest things in the sky
that day.
That particular day. This just as a April Fool's thing. It's like you would get your ass shot down by, not quite exactly Rainbow Dash. No, please don't sue us. But again, little colorful Pegasus ponies, were machine gunning everything in sight.
It was funny watching ponies. The video I watched of ponies taking out ME-262s. But they had the nastiest turn race because they were the only thing that at least the guy who was doing the video, he encountered that when you went to a turn, you actually accelerated. So you really had to watch because they have G-lock in the game and you can black out.
Yep. Yeah, ponies are not built for 14G, except for Rainbow Dash when she makes that one turn after catching Rarity and the 2 knocked out Wonderbolts.
Yeah.
Which is a right angle turn after catching them at greater than the speed of sound. Somebody did a physics thing and said, okay, based upon the angle of the shock wave, how thick would the atmosphere have to be? Again, milkshake thick atmosphere like Miyazaki. Say the angle of they call it the Mach cone. Tells you a great deal about the environment that it's in. She was going 1,600 miles an hour when she made that right angle turn, in one frame, which would load up to about 3,000 or 4,000 G. Rarity and crew would have been better off hitting the ground where the deceleration is generally about 300 Gs.
Yes.
So he just did it as a thing for his physics class. It was one of the earliest, ponies in real life style videos. He got an ovation from the class and an A from his professor.
Yep. It was one of those articles I remember seeing in the early days on Equestria Daily.
Yep.
So I'm going pretty fast and loose on the shading here, but I'm getting her all.
Yep. Well, that's because Patina is pretty fast and never mind. I'm just going to shut up. No, I'm not. And we got about 5 minutes or so until break.
Yes, that's why I wanted to get that part done as soon as I could.
Yeah. So apparently people were trying to engage in combat with the ponies, and then once in a while, you get one will get shot down, and they'd feel all bad for shooting down a pony.
Yes.
Ooh.
But the one where the guy was basically flying around with like 2 Mark 103 German 30mm cannons on his pony and going, this is just wrong. I'm taking out tanks with a pony. And he was just going down, doing ground strafing and like shooting up the back of tanks and just totally hosing them. It's like, wow.
Actually, I usually stop the sentences before I come to the part where I talk about her. You see, this is how it works.
Yes.
Now, I always stop just before. It's an art.
Yes. It's an art.
It's how I deal with my big, throbbing headache. Wait, what? So,
All right.
indeed.
Tail
Does she encase the tail in the suit, or does a?
No, it's free.
Okay.
She does have one version where she can have her tail out, but for swimming, she finds if she's going to do any kind of
Just strap it to the back of a leg or something.
Yeah, just sort of leave it hanging out back free because it lets her do certain maneuvers more easily.
As long as you don't come across some fish that think it's a nice earthworm.
Right, which she's encountered. She's also encountered with baby ducks.
Yeah. Do not eat the muse.
Yes. Yeah, there's one picture I need to get around doing. I've done all the roughs for it and everything of her basically in a swimsuit that says lifeguard, and she's leading a bunch of baby ducks down to the lake.
Yeah. I think Bettina uses Dr. Engel's leather in a can. Actually, that's more of a Vipera thing. Bettina's more into neoprene, if I remember.
Oh,
right.
no, she
And latex.
leather too. Leather too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's equal opportunity.
Yeah.
It's finding the cost for leather garments for her when she's only 8.5 inches tall. Now she does have a 5-foot version of herself, which of course makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
But when she's
She can get into big trouble then.
Yeah, but when she's 8.5 inches tall, getting leather garments made is kind of tricky at that size. Getting quality of leather that's strong enough, but also fine enough grain.
Yeah, patina and baby ducks. That way, patina marching along, followed by baby ducks almost as big as her.
Yes. And then she's got this like beach towel thrown over her shoulder and everything, and she's like, "Come on, this way! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!" She's leading them all down to the water for swimming lessons.
Let's see.
She does have a T-shirt that says "I am not food." Yeah, actually, we're fairly close to a route that they take to one of the hospitals, isn't it?
Which one's that?
About the fact we hear emergency sirens fairly often.
Well,
There's
there's
a station nearby,
we are
too.
one little block off of White Road, which I say which is sort of the major the major road running back and forth between one of the more active areas of San Jose and where one of the hospitals is.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we are.
Just about.
Yeah, so let me just do a quick little shade there, fix that up, put a signature on that, and bump. All right, switch camera there.
Ooh, fading. There's
Yes.
a little crossfade on the
Mhm.
video. What type of eraser pen is that?
This little guy right here, or the silver one, or the black one?
Whoop. Let me turn on this briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Are you talking about this one, or this one?
How about both? Yeah, because this one's a fairly standard.
The silver one.
Yeah.
Silver one. This is from the Tombow company. It's called Mono. And it's an excellent eraser. It's only a 2mm size tip to it. It means you can get into really small areas. And it actually lasts a very long time where you have to replace it. You can get them through University Art. And they also have a square version, but I find the round to be a lot more useful.
There we go. Aha! Portable cam to the rescue.
That's nothing, Paul. So this is probably one of the most commonly asked things about your drawing gear. Yeah, that's probably correct. That and what type of pencil do I use? So we're going to break for 5. Going to get up and stretch. I recommend you guys do the same thing.
Go be biological.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to click on this thing right here, and let's see how the intermission video works on the new one.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, click.
Go.
The rumors are true. We are back.
Yes, we are. Hi, Cybernethy. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're enjoying it so far.
That's Baron. He's the art person.
The guy with the T-shirt with all the writing all over it. And this is Caradwin here, my producer.
I hit computers with hammers.
And tech expert and everything like that.
All right. So what we are doing here is Baron has a Patreon. It says it right there. And some of his high slot patrons get one sketch every month as a support reward. And Baron's going to do one right now.
Yeah, I'm going to do one for Goldfur because I've got an ongoing series of images I need to do for him. And basically it's kind of a lineup of all of his characters. Now, I didn't bring Cinder with me, but I have a good idea how big Cinder is, so hopefully I'll be able to get the rest of the ponies. I mean, you could scale it however you want to when you did the lineup, Goldfur, but if I can get as close to the right size, you'll have to do less homework at that point. Do the lineup and everything.
Yep. So Cat's Nightmare, are you new here too?
No. They've.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen before.
Yeah, Cat's Nightmare has been here before.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Anybody else that's new, say hi to folks. We'll say hi right back.
That's right. We're very welcoming and everything like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things about for you new folks out there, one thing also to understand is this is what I do for a living. I don't have a day job. I don't go to an office and punch a clock or anything like that. My clock is I get up in the morning, I get dressed, I have my breakfast, I go down, I check my email, and I get to work in the studio after I do my exercises.
See, that's the cool thing about being an independent artist. You only have to work half time, and you get to pick which 12 hours a day you do it too.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things that is a huge support of this is Patreon. My monthly patron payout evens out the bills, makes it much easier to plan out expenses and everything like that. And without it, I couldn't be doing this. I just recently celebrated my last stream. Actually, it was my 2-year anniversary.
Yeah, so 2 years of having told the art supply store goodbye, although, that reminds me, I'm going to do this right now. And I have this little thing here
Because
that says,
even though I have left University Art actually has been very supportive of me, and they actually have given me a sponsorship.
yeah.
And so we're
I
gonna
need to add that to here.
Huh?
So we will flash the logo in a little while, but
Yes.
but University Art is a art store, high-end art instruction, art supplies, and framing. Again, as I've said before, I'll say it again. I won't have my art frame anywhere else. They're located in Redwood City, and Sacramento, and San Jose.
Yep.
And sometimes say one of their senior managers comes in, stops in at the to watch the channel. Hi, Mike.
Yes. So if you're lurking, Mike, hi there.
Yeah. So they keep Baron well set up with the art supplies that he needs. So we want to say thank you to the folks at University Art. You're doing good.
All right. So you guys are probably tired of hearing me yakking, so I'm gonna take another slurp here of mint julep for brain lubricant.
Exactly. And that is.
We're gonna switch glasses back to my studio glasses, and we're gonna get to work doing some artwork for gold fur.
Bam! Magic. There we go.
Exactly. And I love that transition. That 1 second fade.
There we go. Whoop. Oh, and there we go.
Oh yes.
There's your logo.
Okay.
Thank you to our sponsors, University Art. Their website, by the way, is undergoing renovations. It was, shall we say, primitive, but they are in the process of turning it into a full, e-commerce site, which is great.
All right.
So again, if you are in San Jose,
Okay, actually, one thing I will
that's
need
the place to
I
go.
need to turn off Do Not Disturb for just a moment. Boop. I need to be able to go and go to my technology. How wonderful you are! If I could have had you in the 80s.
Oh, technology.
All right.
Mint julep. That is a classic Southern cocktail that's made with bourbon and mint and sugar. It is the official drink of the state of Kentucky, and it is over the weekend of the Kentucky Derby. More mint juleps are served than the rest of the year combined. Basically, basically take mint leaves, crush them with something called a muddler, which is basically like a mortar and pestle, with a little bit of granulated sugar to act as sort of a grinding agent. Add a good, healthy slug of decent bourbon, a little bit of simple syrup, which is basically just sugar and water in equal proportions. Ice the heck out of it, and leave the mint leaves in the concoction.
Yeah,
The whole point is to be as minty as possible.
Right. Don't use mint syrup. Some recipes call for mint syrup, but
yeah, no creme de menthe or anything like that.
the mint leaves in here came from my wife's herb garden that she's been growing. And let me tell you, when summertime comes around, iced tea with some crushed mint leaves in it is so wonderful for cooling you off on a hot day.
Indeed. So what's being drawn now? This is going to be work for Chicago Gold Fur.
That's right. I forget this character's name. Gold Fur, so I'm going to move the iPad underneath here so you can see the character. She's Earth Pony. I'm trying to remember her name. She's got this kind of she's a crystal pony. And I'm trying to remember her name. What is her name again? I forget.
Who did that one?
Oh, darn. I forget the artist's name.
Yeah, that almost looks like Cretius stuff. But
No, it's not Cretius. I know that for a fact.
yeah.
I'm just going to put a general line here on the ground because I did that with the other one so I can kind of line them up and everything.
Citrine quartz.
Citrine quartz. Thank you.
Yeah, like a lot of gems. There's like quartz crystals. If they have one type of impurity, it's amethyst. If it's another, it's citrine. If it's another, it goes on and on and on. It's kind of like emeralds and sapphires and rubies are all conundrums. Just what.
By the way, folks, if you're on
Fox and the Wolf, that was who did that one.
If you are on a long road trip to the middle of like Nowheresville, this guy is excellent to have along because he will start explaining to you basically the local geography and geology as you're going along.
Yeah, I'm geology weenie. All right. So actually, I'm reminded because we were talking about hey Ari.
Hey there.
We were talking about War Thunder earlier, and there's some again very avid players of War Thunder, and I was chatting with a couple of them the other night, and one of them, I think it was Cold Silver, wanted to hear a pilot story. One of the things you should get here is old man stories.
Because we're old.
Yeah.
Kids these days.
Give me a lawn so I can tell you to get off it. There you go. Yeah, it was a grumpy
Hey, Darth
old,
Vader, welcome.
Howdy.
Are you new? If you are, welcome. If you're back, welcome back.
Yeah. Yeah, so one of the old man grumps at, say for ponies would be, hey, get off of my lawn. People eat that, so.
You know where your hooves been?
Yeah, there we go. So we were talking about pilot stuff. I'm a private pilot myself. I fly little Cessnas. One of the things that you have to do if you're a pilot, and if you have an instrument rating, basically a rating that says you can fly, when you can't see, if you're fly through clouds, fly, through fog, etc. But you have to keep current. You have to practice, and so what you have to do is once every 90 days is do at least, I think last time I checked it was 2. I'm not instrument rated myself. Do 2 or 3 different styles of approach. Using GPS versus VLR equipment and radio beacons and stuff like that. So what they do is you'll go up and they want to make it real. So there's a special pair of glasses you can get called foggles. That are foggles, yeah. That are these, they look like huge safety glasses that have been painted opaque, just opaque white, except for just a little spot, like right down, here at the bottom, say at the bottom of the glasses. They let you see your instruments, but you can't see anything else. But when you're doing this, you can't see outside the plane. That's the whole point. So to make sure that you don't run into a mountain or something, you're supposed to bring with you another pilot. They call it a safety pilot. You can do it solo, but it is very not recommended. So they just sit in the right-hand side seat and keep an eye out for low-flying mountains and things like that.
Ducks.
Yeah, there you go. So one of my neighbors who had recommended to me the flight school that I eventually ended up going to. Again, pilot himself, instrument rated, and he needed somebody to, be his safety pilot. I'm all about that. Absolutely, let's go. And so we flew north to Napa, and then it was the old foggles on, and then you hit all the checkpoints. You need to be at 4,000 feet at this airspeed at this course. Okay, start descending at this rate. Etc. It's just like in the flight simulators where you're flying through rings. My job again was to make sure that there was no issues there. So we were hearing from the Oakland Air Control Center. Oakland Air Control handles all of Central California. And they said, be on the lookout. There's another aircraft in your area. It's a Coast Guard helicopter. Just keep your eye out for it. It's somewhere in the area, because their radar showed it was nearby. Okay, fine. So we're coming into Napa on this long, slow, descent. And they were asking you, do you have it in sight yet? No, not yet. Do you have it in sight yet? No, not yet. And okay, that's odd. You don't want to hear that. Those are not words you want to hear from an air traffic controller. That's strange. Because apparently they showed the 2 blips right on top of each other. Airplanes, most modern airplanes are set up where they have transponders where when the radar sweeps across, your plane, because it's, blip, blip, about once every 10 seconds, so you have a special radio called a transponder that will, as soon as it detects it, will send back the tail number, if it's an advanced one, the tail number of the airplane, what your airspeed is, what your altitude is, that kind of thing. If it's primitive aircraft, by that I mean like 50s, 60s technology, you just dial in a number that they've pre-assigned you, and they already know, oh, you're a Cessna 172. That means you can go 120 knots, and that kind of thing. And they showed two blips right on top of each other, and so I was getting more and more nervous. And in the meantime, my pilot buddy, Terry, is doing all the things, looking at the checklists and checking his instruments and doing all the things you're supposed to do. And I finally said, Terry, your safety pilot here says, give me a 360 degree, you call it an orbit. We're going to do a standard rate turn. It takes 2 minutes to turn a 360 degree arc. That way you can time your I'd say how many degrees of turn you've made with a stopwatch. There's a little instrument on the plane that shows you when you're making a standard rate turn. So just give me a 360 degree orbit. And so, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. He starts the turn, and a couple of seconds later, I see a helicopter that had been at that point exactly underneath us, and we were about 150, 200 feet above him. And we were doing the same course because we were both headed to Napa. We were both doing about 100 knots. It could have gotten real visual real quick.
And then I wouldn't have Carolyn here helping co-host the show.
Well, I wouldn't have been on the plane then. Because that's why you have a safety pilot there. It's just like just my gut was telling me something's not right. And when we told the air traffic controller, he was right underneath us. Oh. They were under because they're Coast Guard, they were talking to a military air traffic controller, so they couldn't have the same guy just say, there's a Cessna in your area, be on the lookout. So that was an interesting moment.
Mm-hmm. As Carolyn has pointed out on several occasions, there's no situation in flying that can't turn lethal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This is why I'm very suspicious of flying cars.
Yeah. Yeah, so Dart says you look like a legendary artist. Which legend?
Which legend?
The Legend of Creepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
thank you.
That's I've only had one pucker moment in my own flying career. That was back when I was still a student pilot. I'd already done my first solo flight, and I'd been sent down to another airport farther away from San Jose. It's basically a teaching airport, South County. I think it's 099 is the designation for those of you who are pilot types. And it was an uncontrolled airport. There was no tower. So in situations where you have an airport that doesn't have a control tower, there's a particular frequency that all the pilots in the area, they talk to each other. They say, Cessna 53614 is a inbound for closed traffic, over the golf course. Everybody knows where that is. Inbound for runway 31. And then whenever you're at specific parts of the pattern, it's like, okay, here's your runway. So you come in, on the say on a 45 degree angle, then you parallel the runway. That's downwind. Then you turn base, which is you're lining up for the for the final approach. Then you turn final, you land, and then you either immediately hit the gas and go around, or you make it a touch and go, or you taxi off. As you get to the end of the runway, you get off. You taxi, and come back. So, that would be, Cessna 53614 on the 45, for runway 31, Cessna 53614, 53614 downwind, for, Cessna 53614 base, final, clear of active. Well, and of course the runways are bidirectional. You can go both ways. Depending upon the wind, you want to land into the wind because that way you can have an airspeed of 60 knots, but a ground speed of 45. It means you don't need as much runway to land. You're going to be going slower when you land, as far as the ground's concerned. So everybody was there. There was 5 of us in the pattern. We were all just doing the loops around and around and around, building up time. Every time we land, we make a little check mark. One more landing into our logbook. To make our instructors happy. And I had just taken off, and I was climbing up at about Yeah, it was about 400, 500 feet or so. And I looked down and I adjusted the trim to, set a steady 500 foot per minute climb. I looked up and there was an airplane aimed right at me. Just like that. Holy crap. One of the
Literally.
Yeah, exactly. The pucker started at the top of my head and went all the way down. What they teach you is you take the yoke, slam it forward, and turn to the right. Yeah, and that way, if the guy at the other side does the same thing, he didn't even notice. Of course, immediately, as soon as I got my breath, I'm on the radio, got someone going the wrong way, everyone watch out. And apparently, whoever it was, they came in, they landed, and taxied back and took off. Someone was on the wrong frequency and was not listening to the fact that everybody was using runway 31 instead of runway 13, going the wrong way. And that was a real pucker moment.
And this is one of the reasons why some people sometimes say, oh, these organizations, they force you to have to all do things the same way, how, unimaginative and uncreative. The whole thing about hitting the stick and going to the right, if everyone does that the same way, then the two planes will basically pass each other and won't hit. But that has to be part of the training, and it has to be second nature.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most of your pilot training is actually not so much handling the plane, because that's pretty easy, learning how to land and take off and not slam it on the ground. It's just drilling emergency practices and avoiding emergencies,
And
always
in the event of emergency.
Yeah, again, you fight as you train, and when the moment comes up, what have you been practicing? That's the first thing that you will revert to. Mm-hmm. So that's what pilot training is all about, is teaching you good habits and teaching you, to, as soon as you see this situation, you immediately start doing this thing you're supposed to do.
Hey, Seth. Glad you could tune in.
Yeah. Hey.
One question for you, Goldfur. Citron, does she have a cutie mark? And if so, what is her cutie mark? Because this piece of art you sent me has no...
Blank butt.
Cutie mark, yeah.
Blank butt.
Is she a blank flank?
I can see a couple of new folks there. Hello, I think that's Dark Hole. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes.
That's Baron right there.
Hi, I'm Baron. He's scared one.
This one. There you go. And I hit things with hammers and tell old man stories.
Yeah, it does all kinds of things behind the scenes before a stream even starts and makes this stuff happen.
Yeah, again, hitting computers with hammers, that's what I do.
Right.
Oh yes, emergency procedures for the helicopter. You got stay inside the box.
Yeah.
The altitude and.
Here's a question for you, Goldford. Do you want her to have a cutie mark for this?
She gained it afterwards. I can send a link to it.
But for this picture, do you want her to have one? Because I can leave it out. That's entirely your call, sir.
Yep. Seth, mint julep.
Yes, and they are awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Afterwards, that sounds like somebody got their cutie mark. Say after becoming an adult. Is this another immigrant into Equestria?
I don't think so. This is part of his.
Apparently, it's a full story.
Oh yes, it is. It's a very.
Goldfur, could you put up a link to the story that this character is front and center in?
Please do. We'll kind of plug that for folks.
Yep.
Looking for you. I did actually a very large piece of artwork for Goldfur last year, which we'll probably be using in part of our new intro video when we.
Yeah.
That's a nice landscape format. You can work with that.
Oh, Mad Badger has mead. I made mead once.
Oh, mead is awesome.
Yeah, I think you had some of that mead.
Oh, yeah, your blackberry mead?
The blueberry, yeah.
Oh, your blueberry? Yes, wonderful stuff. Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Yeah. So since people seem to like weirdo pilot stories, here's one. When you're about to get your license, you take it's a day-long examination. During the morning, it's all on the ground, and you're basically, the FAA examiner is asking you questions, and they go out to the plane, and they say, okay, show me how you do a pre-flight check, and okay, here's a map. What's this? What's this? What's this? Make a flight plan. Let's take a look at your flight plan. And then you have lunch, and then in the afternoon you go up and fly, and then you demonstrate, all the stuff that you're supposed to know how to do. Well, Uh, so just before they cut you loose, what my flight club does, and I think most do, is they give you to a different instructor than your normal instructor, and they basically do a simulated thing, where, here's exactly what you're going to be doing. So, you show up in the morning and they give you an exam, and they ask you the questions. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this this long gray bar on the map? That's the letter I in Sierra. And it was. That was our favorite trick. And then they go up and they fly. They fly, and then you demonstrate emergency maneuvers and stuff like that. So I was up flying with Wendy. Wendy was a 737 pilot that was on furlough at the time. This was I got my license not too long after 9/11, so the airline industry was still heavily, hurting, and there were a lot of out-of-work pilots that were making ends meet by doing instruction. So we're up flying over Livermore, and one of the things that you do is they call it unusual attitude recovery. The idea is that you get distracted for a moment, you're fiddling with your maps or something, and you look up and all you see is brown, or all you see is blue. Your plane has gotten into, it's pointing in a direction it should not. How quickly can you recognize the situation and correct it? So, we had done, simulated instrument flying, the aforementioned foggles, the whole bit. He says, okay, my plane, dual controls, okay, your plane. And it says head down, so you can't see the instruments, don't throw up. And then the plane, then she takes the plane, she goes, just, up, down, left, right, faster, slower, just to totally disorient you. And then she says, foggles up. And you look up, and you're supposed to recover quickly. One of the things they could do is all you see is blue and the plane's about to stall because it's pointed straight up, that kind of thing. Her idea of unusual attitude was straight down, and I do mean 90 degrees, straight down.
Dive bomber time.
Yeah, with a roll. Yeah. You're crazy. So throttle back so you don't overspeed the airplane and tear the wings off. And so you throttle back, stop the roll, gently pull back, then resume altitude and course. Yeah, and I did it fairly quickly. I just sort of look at her and I say, "Are you crazy?" And she just said, "Oh boy." This is our 737 pilot. And she said, "My instructor, when I was getting rated on 737s, did that to me, except it was at 40,000 feet."
Well,
okay, then. Well, thank you for your vote of confidence. Yeah.
Now, of course, one thing you have to understand is that you'll hear about people having aerobatic ratings. And I'm rated this or this class or this class. And what it really doesn't say is what type of aerobatic maneuvers you can do, like at a show or something like that. It's at what altitude you can do that at. Doing aerobatics at 20,000 feet is sometimes a lot safer than doing aerobatics at 2,000 feet.
Really, yeah, you have more time to correct.
Go. Oh crap! That wasn't a great idea.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these air show things are. Is okay, I'm going to pull out because I usually end up 20 feet off the ground. Ooh, wait, I waited 20 feet too long.
Or it was a hotter day than I was expecting, and I didn't allow for the air being thinner, or the fact that I'm performing 500 feet higher than I usually train at. Smacko.
Yeah. The only airplane accident that I was ever close to, that actually turned into, bent metal was on the day that I got my mountain flying checkout. We were going to fly to Lake Tahoe, which the airport there is nice and long. Runway's like 7,500 feet.
You need it.
Yeah, it's at about 6,400 feet altitude. So go up and do that. And we're taxiing for takeoff. This is here in San Jose. And the air traffic controllers had been saying, stay off this frequency for a few minutes. We have a plane that's in trouble. Okay. And what it was the plane was actually flying, but it had a failure in the electrical system. Mm-hmm. So the plane will keep flying, no problem. It doesn't need to have like a working battery or alternator to fire the spark plugs. Planes of this type use magnetos, which don't care. But your radios, that's another matter. They need electricity, and apparently the guy had not noticed the problem until the battery was almost drained, and so his radios weren't working. It was a plane with retractable gear, and we saw, saying we're taxiing, everybody's going to wait for this guy to land, shouldn't be any problem. Except there's nothing sticking out under the underside of the plane.
Oh dear.
And we start, and Frank, my instructor, was reaching for the microphone, when he heard the air traffic controller say, just in case the guy had enough juice to listen. Mm-hmm. Your gear's up. Put down your gear. Okay, go around. Oh shit. Those are usually the last words you hear on a black box recorder, by the way. Mm-hmm. And so the plane flies by. Of course, my plane was moving. I was taxiing. I couldn't watch. I wanted to watch. I couldn't watch. I must keep my eyes straight ahead. Taxi to the run-up area. Quickly turn around, the plane around, and there's the plane. It had landed with its gear up. The propeller had struck the pavement. And adjustable propellers have hydraulic fluid to adjust the pitch, the angle of the propellers, so you get better climb versus better speed. They put different colored dyes in all the hydraulic fluids on an airplane so you can tell by what color it is where the leak's coming from. Propeller is red. The plane was covered with blood.
Yeah, it looked like a horror film.
Oh yeah, and that was a $40,000 landing.
Oh yeah.
Because when you strike the propeller on most small aircraft is bolted directly onto the end of the crankshaft of your engine.
Rebuild.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a new engine altogether.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you at least have to do a teardown to see if you twisted your crank into a pretzel. Mm-hmm. So what had happened was the pilot had gotten rattled by the fact that he had no radios and had forgotten to do his landing checklist. Mm-hmm. GUMFs, gas. G is for gas. That is, make sure your fuel is set to the most full tank, and that your supplementary boost fuel pump is on if you have one. Undercarriage, U is undercarriage. That means lower your damn gear. You forgot. M is mixture, which is on older aircraft you manually adjust the air fuel mixture yourself. GUMP. Power, make sure that power and propeller, make sure that you are set to the right speed and you're ready to do a go around. And S, safety. That would be seat belts and that sort of thing.
Put your tray in the upright position, turn off all electrical devices.
Yep.
That kind of stuff.
GUMPFs.
Yes.
GUMPFS. There's other acronyms that some people use, but that was the one that I was taught. Yep. Gas, undercarriage, mixture, power, safety.
And you can also get into the situation where you'll have people who have flown fixed carriaged aircraft, and they get into one of a retract, and
they forget.
You fall back on your training. That's why it's every time you start flying a new plane, you have to go through the whole. And this is also true about new cars and new motorcycles. When you get a new vehicle, there's a few months where you're kind of a noob again. You've got to be really, really careful.
Yeah, actually, if you have a motorcycle, then you could have 20 years of experience on motorcycling, and then you buy a new motorcycle. Even if it's more or less the same as your previous one, for the next 3 months, your chance of getting into an accident is doubled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, because a motorcycle, there's so much physicality. It's a part of your body. Mm-hmm. So you have to get used to moving with it. Mm-hmm. Hey, Crazy Matt. Have we seen you before? If so, welcome back. If not, welcome.
Yes. My name is Baron, and this is Jared over here. We're telling old man stories, and I'm drawing art.
Yep. So all kinds of crazy stuff there. That same day, by the way, that I was doing the mountain checkout, and we landed at Lake Tahoe Airport. The controller had said keep an eye out for deer. Okay, because apparently they've been active that day. And so we land and have lunch at the airport terminal there. It's a tradition among pilots. They call it the $100 hamburger. Hey, I hear that this airport cafe's got a really good burger. You want to go get a burger? And you go spend $100 in fuel to go get a $5 hamburger. It's an excuse to fly. And so we're sitting there, and the airport manager, joined us, because it was a quiet day. So hey, how's it going? What are you doing? Oh, I'm learning, mountain flying. And I said, yeah, we get coyotes, and they sit on the edge of the runway. Whenever they hear an airplane, we'll sometimes see like half a dozen coyotes, because when the plane lands, the noise of it panics all of the mice, and the mice all run. They break cover and run. And then the coyotes go, "Oh, there you are!" and they go and have a mouse snack. Sorry, Bettina. So the coyotes have learned, airplanes are bringing food.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple of videos where pilots have had deer strikes on takeoff and landing. Yep, that can happen. Because deer are cute, deer are tasty, deer are dumb. They're dumb as bricks.
When my sister Julie was in the Air Force and she was signed up into Montana, and she was signed to one of the air bases that flew the RB-57 Canberra Big Wing recon planes. And one autumn, they had a bull elk get onto the tarmac and started declaring this is riding territory. And there, Julie told the story about a very expensive encounter with the United States Air Force and a bull elk that was not impressed by an RB-57 and damaged some rather expensive recon pods.
Yeah. Well, so it's a deer in rut. They say they will face down a lion. They don't care. And it's, again, if you're not a doe, they know about two things. To make the sweet, sweet love and kill it.
Yeah.
And you don't look like a doe.
Yeah.
So
they ended up having an elk barbecue, but that ended up being a very expensive situation, and they didn't have a huge number of RB-57s, and those were very important planes along with the U-2s during the Cold War, so there was a whole lot of calls to Washington to explain why we suddenly had lost some of our important strategic recon assets because of an overly
amorous
elk.
So I said, and of course, if you're a bush pilot, oh boy, watch out for moose and squirrel.
Yes. There's a site I follow on Twitter, Aerodork, and he had a video up of a situation that occurred in Colorado where they had some Piper Cubs that they were getting ready to do, Super Piper Cubs that were going to do towing for gliders. And they had a microburst come along. And they developed enough wind that you get to watch Pipers just fly off by themselves. Literally.
Oh, yeah, you tie those beasts down.
Yeah, but they had a few of the basic ties left, and they snapped loose. And two of them took off and went their own way. And they were frankly trying to hold this one glider down from flying away. Because they were getting ready to hook it up to the tow line, which is the reason why no one could run over and do anything about the Pipers. And it was like the air traffic controller going, okay, all operations close. Because this one just goes flying away. The engine was running.
It'll just lift, yeah.
Yeah, it just flew off, and it flew off in the wrong direction with no pilot. And they're going, we have no control over this. We don't know where it's going to come down.
Yeah, but it's going to be visual when it does.
Well, apparently one of them just set down on a highway. Just landed. Came to a halt.
Well behaved.
Yeah, they're giant free flight model airplanes. That's why when I got into doing free flight models, when I started competing in scale competition, everybody told me as a kid, build a model of a Piper Cub because they're just naturally stable designs.
Yeah. There's a company in Australia that is making new Piper Cubs out of carbon fiber. In fact, they're called, Cub Crafters, and they have something called the Carbon Cubs, which are even lighter than the original Piper Cubs, and they're stuffing 180 and 200 horsepower motors in them. Woo-hoo! The original motors were 65 horsepower.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a plane that has a short takeoff roll.
Hang on its prop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, talk about hanging on a prop. There was one day in my training, very windy day. It was... I got to the airport and the wind was blowing 30, 35 knots straight down the runway, and my instructor said, "No, we're not flying today. I'm just gonna, but let's just hang out and watch how other pilots, handle this." And then we see this yellow thing coming and goes, "Oh, watch this! I know this guy. Watch this! Watch this! Watch this!" And the thing about a Piper Cub is its stall speed is only about 30 knots, about 35 miles an hour. The wind was faster than that, so the guy comes in over the threshold, over the edge of the runway, end of the runway, and he's still got the propeller going. He's not gliding. He's going, okay, fine, he's going fine, and just sort of creeping. It looks like he's hovering. And as far as the ground is concerned, he was. As far as the wings were concerned, the breeze is blowing over them at good 40, 45 knots, So he goes, and then he throttles back, lifts the nose, and the plane goes straight down and just goes doot. He landed vertically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there are contests that are held for short takeoff and landing among bush pilots where they get a nice breezy day, and there are some that they need the takeoff roll is 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the
less than the length of the aircraft.
And the landing roll is 10 feet, or in this case, the guy just dropped the wheel. Dropped the wheel straight onto the pavement. Wham! But he kept the tail of the plane up. It's a tail dragger, so he's like this, with the two wheels there, and so he immediately throttled up, but stood on the brakes. So he had the propeller was putting all kinds of wind over the tail, so he could keep the tail up. He went, okay, fine, okay, over, got off the runway, off the taxiway, turned around, and the last minute goes turn, bam, and drops his butt down.
Mm-hmm.
No roll on the tail wheel. He was just showing off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Piper Cubs, their stall speed is get out and walk.
Yeah. There's been several occasions when I was going in Highway 101 past Palo Alto Airport, and there'd be someone coming in on a windy day, and you're just like blowing past this little J3.
Yeah, there's like I think it's 4 either Cubs or Cub reproductions at Reed Hillview right now.
Mm-hmm.
Reed Hillview is the airport that I was at, actually live a few miles from.
In fact, every once in a while you'll actually hear them. Streams.
Yeah, we're right under the northern approach. Come overhead.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What Foxfire is talking about for LSA is light sport aircraft. That is an easier to get license than private pilot. It's primarily intended, for 2 things. One is to get people into flying less expensively, and the other is for people whose medical condition is not really good enough for a regular pilot's license, but still okay. Your medical is your driver's license. If you are in good enough condition to be legally allowed to drive a car, then you can operate a plane instead of taking a flight medical. 2-seaters, you can't have 4-seat aircraft. Daytime visual flight rules only. You cannot enter Class B airspace, which is the 30-mile radius around major airports. You cannot do commercial paid operations. Your plane can only have I believe it's 100 horsepower or 120 horsepower motor, and cannot fly. Cannot be capable of flight more than 120 knots in level flight, and have a maximum takeoff weight of, including passengers and fuel, of 1,320 pounds.
So basically ultralights.
Well, no, not ultralights. It's say
the step up.
Well, what they had their eyes very squarely on was the Cessna 152 and the Piper Cub.
Mm-hmm.
Those are considered light sport aircraft, and it's a much easier license to get. Half as much flight instruction. And Rebels just put up a link to a piece of artwork that you did for somebody's kit plane.
That's correct, I did.
Yeah.
By the way, Jarek, we did do the University Art plug at the start of the start of the piece, so we've already done it for tonight, for this hour at least.
What is my favorite unusual aircraft? Probably for me, the SR-71. That's basically a rocket with token wings.
Yeah, unusual aircraft for me. Ooh. I don't know. I think some of course, these are planes I would never want to actually fly or fly in, but some of the Schneider Cup float plane racers were just simply fascinating bits of design technology for their time period. Some of the Supermarine S1, S5, some of the Curtis's that flew, some of the Miyake from Italy.
Rebel. That's the B-47, I think, the flying wing.
Yes.
B-47. Yeah, that was a real thing, by the way.
Yeah, no, yeah. Northrop's.
Yeah, and then of course they reinvented and called it the B-2.
Right. And one of the problems, it was a great design and everything. It had just one problem, that was yawing. And that was particularly important when they were still using Norden-style bomb sights to be able to get a lineup for the bomb run. It just took too long.
Yeah.
And
It's too twitchy, yeah.
Too twitchy. That was one thing that the B-36 was very, very stable. I mean, you're basically flying a strip mall in the air, so...
Yeah, which means you weren't going to be dodging any Messerschmitts. You'd better have some Mustangs with you.
Yeah, or jets in that case,
Yeah.
by the time those came into service. My dad remembers, because they would fly those out of San Diego because Convair had a factory down there, and they would go on occasion do work. And the 4 or 5 of them would come over L.A. with, the jets and the 6 piston engines. They would just make the windows rattle throughout the basin.
I'm going to move the logo here so we can see. Actually, can I electronically?
Can I just shift the? I can also shift this over here like that. Move the board. That can be done.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
You're the producer. You're supposed to tell me when things like this are happening.
No, I'm supposed to yell at somebody to bring me coffee.
Uh-huh.
XB-71. Yeah, the XB-71 was what made the Soviet Union spend so much money on the developing the MiG-25.
Valkyrie.
Yeah, I think they only built like 4 of the Valkyries or something like that. Some very low. Yeah, and
one in an accident.
Yeah, they were bombers that did like Mach 2 plus.
Mach 3.
Yeah, very, very fast. And the Soviet Union was like, "Holy crap! We don't have anything fast enough to intercept a bomber moving that quickly."
Mm-hmm.
So they developed the MiG-25, which was capable of doing for short periods of time Mach 3.8.
Okay.
And the MiG-25 wasn't a fighter; it was an interceptor.
Right. Okay. I asked for Sakana's thing about why didn't I give Spitfire elliptical wings. Well, are we referring to the Spitfire piece I did recently of her in her flight suit in the basically outside the locker room? Because in that case, no, I gave her wings like Pegasus ponies have in my Dreamscape, which are kind of this almost Raptor style wing, a cross between a goshawk and a falcon.
Yeah. So yeah, the Warthog, by the way, is the A-10. They re-upped it until at least 2022, but they're having problems with. I saw something that about a third of the fleet needs to be grounded until they get new wings, wing spars, basically.
Yeah, they taxed them.
Yeah, because somebody forgot to add that to the budget line item. Oops.
Yeah, and just the fact that they're over their flight hours now.
Yeah.
In fact, that's from a lot of the F-18s.
Which is why prompting the new wings.
Yep.
Yeah, the A-10s are great. There was a program called the Firehogs that was going to take retired A-10 Warthogs, which they can take off with something like 20 or 30,000 pounds of
stuff.
Payload, as it were. That's an awful lot of fire suppressant. Mm-hmm. And they can do things that the larger aircraft can't do, like fly right up a really steep, narrow canyon in Southern California at very low altitudes, like 200 feet above, above the treetops, drop their fire suppressant right on the fire line, and then pull a 9G turn to get out of the canyon before you run out of canyon and run into mountain. Mm-hmm. And it's the kind of thing that A-10 pilots are taught to do every day. Now do it with fire suppressant. That's the concept, the Firehawk. Very cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm surprised. I looked up at the camera now, and I finally got a chance to see what this is looking like in on the new camera of the 7. That's actually looking pretty good. That's nice and clear. People can see what I'm doing. Yeah. Hey, cool. Actually, I'm going to call this one done.
Yeah, because it is just about that time.
Yeah. We'll do our break a little bit early so I can get up and stretch, and you should get up and stretch too. All right, let's switch cameras. Yep. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an A-10 best aircraft. Well, it's certainly for ground attack. It's really, really good. The Sukhoi 25 is the equivalent, but it's
like the same role, slightly different. They put different priorities on what they want to have done and everything. It's not that one's better than the other. They're just slightly different missions and everything like that. Dark Host 13 or Dark Hole. Dark Hole. Dark Hole. I think you're new. Welcome. You know, we have quite a few new people actually here tonight, and I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Now we're gonna take 5 minutes. We're gonna get up and stretch. You should get up and stretch. You know, move around. You know,
Be biological.
Be biological, and we'll be back, and we will do more art in 5 minutes.
That's
See you then.
That's why I'm clicking on this thing right here.
Mm-hmm.
And indeed, we are back.
Welcome back, folks.
A lot of running around.
Yeah. Getting certain things prepped and set up for later in the night.
Because he needs another mint julep.
That is that too, and also too, you need to get lasagna started.
That would be next break.
Oh, next break we start that. Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right.
So,
well, since you mentioned it, yes, let's pass that bad boy over here.
and while I'm doing that, need that.
You're gonna need
And
that.
and I will need the good stuff.
Need simple syrup. Oh yeah, we're gonna try something out. You know, last one we did with Maker's Mark bourbon. This time we're gonna use let me get around facing the right direction here.
Jack Daniel's single barrel.
Single barrel. Very nice
Indeed.
stuff. Excellent.
Indeed. So, while I do this, why don't you tell us what you're going to do for the next hour?
Okay, for next hour I'm going to be working on a piece for McClaw. And it is a piece from the online comic Cross Time Academy. And I'm going to be doing a character from it. It's not a character I've ever drawn before, so it's going to be kind of a new character for me to draw. So it's like, okay, she's a feline. I've done this before. But new character. He sent me a whole passel of reference and everything like that. And I download stuff I think is going to be the most useful for doing the piece. And we'll get on to that here in just a moment. But right now, we're getting some very important brain lubricant worked out. And
Infrastructure.
Structure, that's right.
All right. Please hold my muddler.
I will gladly hold your mother. Looks kind of like a little police billy club when you think about it from this
A fish whacker.
Or a fish whacker, yes.
How about
There.
much? There we go.
Because. But don't worry, by the way.
Now, it will be several hours before he is on the road.
Exactly. And I've been pacing myself out. I am the driver tonight, but I will make certain that I am completely legit before I hit the road.
Yes, we're careful about this.
Because I want to be able to keep coming back and doing streams with you guys.
And California's got some really nasty host laws.
That's exactly. So, no. We are being responsible.
Lest we be responsible.
Yes, we're reading the adults in the room.
Ice.
Yes, ice is important here. Get that out of the way. There.
That is the extension cord for one of the cameras.
Yes. Oh no! I have plans I plan on doing this for decades. I plan on being an annoying old man in my elder years, and I can't do that if I end up taking myself out of the equation a bit early.
Yeah, and of course, if you're going to be an annoying old man, you have to practice.
That's right.
That's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
Are we annoying yet? And then Angostura bitters.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little.
That's true. It was Crosstown Cafe and the Academy.
Is this the Crosstown Cafe thing that Mark Stanley was drawing in? And,
I think it was.
With Florence and, let's see, Scudder Kidwell had his the unicorn.
Do I end up with a situation? I'm just answering a question Seth has in the comments about, do I get blocked? Yes, there are times when I get blocked.
I think it happens to every artist on the planet.
Right. Ways I work through it is sometimes I won't work directly on the project, but I'll work on projects on the side around. I'll kind of poke around the periphery and see if I can get myself motivated. Sometimes I will not work directly on the project, but I'll watch things or like watch movies that are kind
Research.
of like it or might inspire me. Read about things kind of in that genre or something like that, or the subject matter to get me inspired. Sometimes it comes in really kind of weird directions. Like there was a piece that I know like last year sometime we had on the stream, which was one I did of Gilda. Where she's basically pulling on a glove. And I was working on Goldfur's big aerial battle picture, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to compose the picture because it was all these elements that had to be brought into it. And for whatever reason, so I'm just going to draw something else and let my mind see if I can come to what's going to be the solution. And I drew this picture of Gilda, and in my head I could see her and everything. And then she kind of went, "Okay, well, I'm done. I got to be someplace else." So in my mind, I watched her fly off, and she went to this movie theater and linked up with all these other Griffins who were going to go and watch this movie. And they went in and they sat down, and the movie had already started. And what I realized, what I was watching in my head was the battle scene as it was unfolding. And I just simply, in my mind, watched the different angles. And my subconscious was telling me, these are 3 different ways you can tackle possibly the composition that Goldford wants you to do. And that's how I settled on the final.
Right.
So you've got to keep your mind limber, and you've got to be willing to play little tricks and things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, you have a very cinematic brain.
Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't turn off.
Right. And when I was in art school, we did things to basically encourage that. We had, basically things where we were given little drills to have to figure out how to expand on that. Yes, mint alcohol bourbon in this case. Sugar, water, ice, a little bit of bitters.
Right. This is a mint julep. It's a very simple recipe. Again, 2 shots of bourbon. You start off with a handful of mint leaves. I would say at least 8 or 10. Take the muddler, mortar and pestle, the heel of a small bottle, whatever you got. Squish with about a teaspoon of sugar. The sugar acts sort of a grinding compound.
Ooh.
Smish up the...
With the gentleman's jacket, it's got a very different quality to it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good.
Maker's Mark is a bit spicier.
Yeah.
So again, you grind it up until you have sort of like almost a paste of crushed leaves. You don't want to grind them completely into paste, but just break them up so the oils come out. 2 shots of bourbon. So optionally a little bit of bitters, Angostura bitters, but most people leave that out. Stir to mostly to get all the good stuff off the bottom of the muddler. Throw in a bunch of ice, a little splash of of either water or
I like club soda.
Or club soda, and and you're in business. That's a mint julep. Very simple, very good.
Dart Vader, actually, to answer a question for you, yes, I do take commissions and I do requests, and I'm probably going to do one more Patreon reward tonight. It's going to be on the clause. And then I will probably, for the last hour, I will be putting in for a request. Now, don't tell me now for requests, and requests are not of your OC. That's called a commission. Contact me about that. But for the last hour, I'll probably be taking a request of some type, and we'll take it from there. But now that I've got brain lubricant and I've got a fresh piece of paper on the board and everything, I think it's time for me to actually start earning my paycheck.
Yep.
You folks maybe love to hear us talk about making drinks and airplanes and whatnot, but what you're really here for is artwork.
Yep. And I'm going to take this opportunity right now to do our once per hour plug of Baron's sponsor, University Art. University Art is a high-end art supply and framing store that Baron worked for 20 years. Now that Baron is out on his own and doing that art thing full time, they are his sponsor. They provide him with art supplies, etc. A little bit about University Art. They have 3 stores in Sacramento and Redwood City and San Jose. Again, high-end art supplies. They offer training and seminars and workshops. Their framing shop is what I am especially interested in because I have all of my art commissions framed there. They do museum-quality work, stuff that will hold up for 100 years without damaging the art. They have handled original Rembrandt, original Picasso.
I did an Albert Dürer one time myself.
Alfred Dürer, yeah.
Yeah, Albert Dürer.
And an original Nobel Prize award.
Yes, which was very interesting. We had to lock that in the safe.
Right, that was brought in by a man in sunglasses and a suit who had no neck.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. And we also one of the oddest things we did at one point was we did a Lifa show pinfire revolver, which was someone's ancestor in the American Civil War had wielded, and it was a revolver. It was commonly used by the Confederate States, And it was very interesting to have him bring the guy bring this in because he really didn't know what he had. He said, I have this revolver. I like to have it put in a shadow box. Are you guys comfortable with this? And I said, well,
Gimme.
I have no problem with this, sir, at all. But let me check back with my boss on this. And I'll ask you to take this with you. And then if it's okay, we'll have you bring it back in for a final. Mike was okay with it. But he said, thank you for letting me know and letting the frame shop know that we're going to have a real live firearm in the thing. And of course, I immediately, because the guy said he didn't know anything about firearms, was very nicely take it from him, open the loading gate, and go through and say, yes, we have 5 empty cylinders.
Yes.
Because you never know, you can't assume.
Yeah, exactly.
That's our PSA for the hour.
Yeah, don't shoot your toe.
Yes.
Don't shoot your boop off.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So Darkhold, just so you know, Baron will do pinup. He doesn't quite go into the lewdy stuff. You know, again, this isn't everybody's channel.
Yeah.
We'll go right up to the edge.
Yeah. Basically, I try to keep things PG-13 rated R. Basically, nothing that I wouldn't be ashamed to show my mother.
Yeah, exactly.
And my mother, I'm discovering as I'm getting older, is a much more earthy fellow lady than I thought she was.
Well, she had you.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. So apparently Pink Pony's having problems with the website. Galleries only show, it looks like a CSS problem.
Is this the Smudge Marks and Engleworks site, or is this DeviantArt? Which professional site are we talking about?
If it's University Art, they're in the process of rebuilding it.
Yeah, they're seriously trying to rebuild it. They had someone who was hosting their store.
One of the vendors, I think it was,
was phoning it in.
Yeah.
And they're getting someone much better. They're going to have a much better operation because they're understanding that there are folks all over the world which they can be doing business with.
Yeah.
And they can't because their site wasn't ready for prime time. They're making it.
Yeah. So let's see. Besides MLP, what other shows do you watch?
Well, a TV series that I want to start watching more of is one that was recommended by. Is Engineer Sam in the chat tonight?
Not tonight.
Oh, okay. He recommended to Dave Katzbaugh basically a series called Person of Interest, and I definitely want to. Everything I've heard about that is an excellent series. I watch an awful lot of anime. The second season of The Eccentric Family has started, and from everything I've heard so far, it's very, very good. My wife is following it, and from the giggles and snorts coming from the living room, I need to get on board watching that a bit more. The first season was excellent.
Yep. Okay, so both Prowo and Pink Pony are saying CSS based errors, etc. Let's see if they're both using Firefox. Pink Pony's using Firefox. That often indicates, and Prowo sees it on both Firefox and Chrome.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let Smudge know, and she will go and hit the site with a hammer. That may be related to the problem that you had with.
Well, that might be. Now, I use Firefox to view the site, and I don't have any problems at all. I'm running it on
a Mac, yeah.
Mac, and we haven't had any problems with Windows with it. So maybe a Chrome-related thing.
No. Prowo sees it on both Firefox and Chrome.
Okay.
So that also means there's a possibility that maybe some. I don't know, ad blocking software or Node.js or something like that. That's
and what version of on Windows is it? What Windows XP? Okay.
That would not cause rendering issues in a browser.
Okay.
Do recommend you upgrade, but and then turn off all of the stuff that makes it do call homes. But XP is anyway. That's another conversation. But. Yeah, and again, so it works for some people, not for others. Again, I would also make sure that your Firefox installation and Chrome installations were up to date. Although Chrome is pretty aggressive about making sure it's current. Mm-hmm. So there may be ad blocking software or some other security software or something that just needs to be told that SMU is okay.
Yeah, because we've set that. We've tried to make that as friendly as possible because we want to make it so that you can come to our site and give us money.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to make it hard for you to give us money. If you make it hard to give, you're going to go someplace else and give them money. And that may sound terribly mercenary, but like I say, this is what I do for a living.
Yep, exactly. You're on the clock right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. We will let Smudge know. Smudge is Baron's wife, she's also an artist and an animator, but she also is their webmaster.
Our web monkey.
Yeah, exactly. She does a lot of the the coding and stuff herself.
Yeah.
So we will let her know.
Yes, we'll pass that along. Now, it also because I know this week. Well, I don't know if they did or not. They were. There was some WordPress was supposed to be doing an update to their servers. I don't know if that actually ever happened or not. Well, nothing impossible. I find it easier to be honest because that way I don't have to remember a few months later what lie I told you.
Yeah. Now the issue is in the gallery.
In the gallery, okay. Well, that's still keeping you from being able to give us money. That's no good.
There we go. All right. Okay. We'll let Smudge know.
Yeah, she'll take a look at it and see what she can figure out as a possible what might be going on.
Hey, no problem, worker. He was having a problem with a command prompt sometimes showing up, and we dug out what was going on. It's like, okay, you got to go turn this thing off over here because it's supposed to be different. It was an updater that was suddenly started becoming visible. That's usually invisible. Shouldn't the intermission have ended? Cato, it did. And folks are seeing it there. So I suspect that your browser got wedged. F5, F5, F5.
Yes. F5 is your friend.
Yep.
When in doubt, mash it.
Yep. Let's see. Let me take a quick peek here. And there's nothing we can do about it at the moment anyway, because, again,
right.
Other stuff. But Smew.com. Smew. Practice. Gallery, Baron's Art. All art, Baron's Gallery.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm seeing it too.
Yeah, could you do me a favor? Could you actually, maybe send, do a screen cap of that and, send that to Smudge via email?
Got it, Kimosabi.
Thank you. So it'll be better for her to actually here's what people are saying versus now it could be something that on WordPress's end it's with the servers that's just doing something whacked, but it's good to know that.
Click and edit paste. File save on the desktop. File busted smew.png. All right. Well, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, folks, and
We'll pass it along.
Absolutely, and it'll get fixed.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Laptop doesn't have F5. Well, in that case, a size 12 will do. Size 12 wide, depending on how big your foot is. Yeah. So yeah, it seems to be something related to browser versions or something. We'll talk to Smudge later about this.
Yeah. Nothing we can nothing we can do about it.
McClaw, question for the chat. Who has seen a copy of MLP Tales of Equestria RPG? I own one. It's actually not a bad system. Very, very simplified. But it looks functional. Very good production values on the book, too.
Which doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. So, actually, just for grins, might run a one-off wonder if we can find any volunteers to
Oh,
play. This is the sound of arms twisting.
well, maybe.
So, yeah. Which reminds me, about ready to actually make that D&D 5th edition campaign I've been talking about happen.
Oh, okay.
Not the one that we were talking about, before. That was going to be an online thing.
Yeah.
The one that was going to have, Smudge and James, and it's
Yeah.
going to be smaller.
Right.
But you have an invite, sir. This is going
I'd
to
be
be me.
interested.
This is going to be me learning 5th edition.
I'd be interested. Well, it'd be me learning 5th edition.
Yeah.
So we can all learn together.
Dang right. Yeah.
That's
So that would
business.
run like say once, maybe twice a month, probably on like a Friday night.
Okay.
Either Friday or Sunday, depending on when the others are.
Mhm.
I may grab some folks from the Bay Area Furries list, and
Okay.
I know that Dusty's head would explode if I didn't. But
Yeah.
we'll see. Yeah, it will be 5th edition D&D.
Mhm.
Yes, I actually got recently back in contact with one of my buddies from college.
Oh.
Remember that Amending Fences episode? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's where Brian's right now. He's over at a barbecue. His daughter just graduated.
Oh,
from,
Doug?
Yeah, Doug. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You and Doug get along great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about Doug an awful lot.
Yeah. He's he's one of my best friends from college days.
Chico?
Chico. Yeah. Chico State.
Mm-hmm.
And no, we had during the mumble.
Oh, mumble.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, by the way, those are the right glasses? Just checking.
No, they're not. Thank you
I
very
win the
much.
prize this time. Okay, I get the prize.
That's the problem. My regular world glasses are just good enough. I can sit down and draw with them.
Yeah. Oh, Cold Silver, you from Chico? Yeah. I was there during the so-called riots. Ha! That was a pretty lame excuse for a riot. The couch that they burned at Fifth and Ivy, from that laundromat, it needed to be burned. I knew that couch. It was pretty nasty. But yeah, when I was there, so the entire time that I was there, so I had a D&D campaign, and Doug was one of the central players in it. Played a dwarf named Foreign, who is a, quote, scout, unquote. Okay, fine, you got me. I'm a thief. He was an assassin. And another fellow in the group played Foreign's brother, Gerwin. Gerwin was a lawful good cleric dwarf, of Kertant, the god of crafting, and he would begin preaching, and the winds would blow from the blowhardiness of his. And of course, Foreign would immediately take the distraction opportunity to go and pick people's pockets. But he went through that entire campaign, and nobody cottoned on that he was an assassin, and so he had been deliberately leading the party into situations where he could maybe grab an extra magic item or two, and that kind of thing. So no, it was great, because he was not doing the stealing from the party thing or anything like that. He was just playing his character, and he was not doing the thing of I'm playing a jerk character, so that means I get away with being a jerk. No, his character was a nice guy. It's just he occasionally took some money and killed people with it.
Well, that was like that one How to Be a Better Player character about don't go killing the people in your own party. Those are the folks that you're going to be counting on, and you don't piss in your own nest.
Exactly.
I mean, even Viper knows that one.
Yeah. See, care for the first time, you think, my, what an respectable looking man. You must be looking at the wrong man. Then
What's
you
that?
realize he's an old nerd with a dirty sense of humor. That
What was this again?
oh, this is nothing impossible. Seeing illusions.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and it's commented that looks very Cation. It looks a lot like Maress.
It does. The character design actually is pretty close on a few
Yeah.
things.
I like the big hair.
Yes, she has hair. She has all the hair. And of course, when I was doing the whole picture of Patina in her outfit, all I could think of was going, then she goes and she meets Maress.
Yeah. Cold Silver, back when I was doing this, it was a long time ago, I was doing AD&D. There's not D&D 2, not D&D 3, not D&D 3.5, not Pathfinder, not D&D the MMO, I mean 4th edition. That was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. So, Yeah, it was classic. Classic. You two remind me of Waldorf and Statler from the Muppet Show. Come on, guys! I'm working my heart out here as a comedian. You look like you're on the unemployment line, more like.
You get something to throw at them.
Yep. And my first Dungeons and Dragons was the Blue Box edition. Basic Dungeons and Dragons. And I very quickly went out and grabbed the Chainmail and Men in Magic, but and realized that even the Blue Book was much of an improvement. This is before AD&D was out.
Mm-hmm.
That was 1978.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy Carter was still in the White House.
Yeah.
John Belushi was still alive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In fact, the Blues Brothers hadn't come out yet. He was still doing the Samurai Delicatessen.
No, I was say, how old was I at the time?
I'm dating myself.
Well, that way for sure somebody's going to pick up the tab.
Yeah.
So I was 15 at the time.
Yeah, I was in junior high. I was 1978. Yeah, I was in the...
Yep. Yeah,
well, you start to use your fingers, it's going to craft, and you're counting decades at that point.
Yeah. McCall says less booby, more
yeah,
fluff.
She's very flat chested, I get the impression. So let's make that
I'm going to guess that they don't get curvy until after they've had kids, kind of like,
well,
just about anybody that isn't a human.
Okay, let's thin that back even more. I was wondering about whether I was getting too much there. Because a couple of the references are, it's hard to tell here.
Yeah. Yeah, so, the Traveler. Yes, the game in which your character usually dies during character creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, as has been pointed out by Cat's Paw before. It was really designed to run as a pickup game at conventions rather than campaigning. Although a lot of people did do that. Traveler's a game that it's gone from company to company. It had several editions, of various success, and now they're trying to bring it back again. Good luck with that.
Now, turn back to being Traveler or Mega Traveler.
Well, it's in the same family. There's
Okay.
Traveler, Mongoose Traveler, Mega Traveler, Traveler 2300, I think it was. And Mark Miller recently bought back the rights to Traveler. There was GURPS Traveler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because James has GURPS Traveler. Has several books from the GURPS Traveler.
Yeah.
Is that better, McClaw?
So, from AD&D to Palladium, which was a very similar system, to Shadowrun, 3rd edition, to D&D 3. Yeah. The D&D game that I ran for about 4 years, about a decade back, that Baron here was in, was 3.5.
Yep.
And of course, if you like 3.5, go play Pathfinder, because that's just 3.5. That's been taking human growth steroids over the years. But yeah.
No, Pink Pony would not be trite for you to exclaim meow. I need to actually go take a look at the one which is the stripe pattern, which is going to help me out where I need to put stuff.
Yeah. So let's see. McClaw's been in D&D Traveler Champions. Yeah, I played Champions. Original version Champions, the most exploitable game in the history of anything. Yeah, I mean, that is a game that is just, say that if you're a min-maxer and if you like to design characters with spreadsheets, and optimize, holy hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very abusable game. On the other hand, it was good slam bang comic book role playing, and we had a campaign in Chico. Same people. We did a rotating game master thing. Works better in Champions than it does in D&D.
Yeah,
for years and years.
Ray Greer, who was at BabsCon, was worked on the hero system and everything like that. So it was kind of fun putting him and Clear Skies together.
Yeah.
Because he was able to, okay, son, let me give you some worldly advice.
Yeah. Okay, there's Hero System Traveler. Okay.
I didn't do a whole lot of Traveler. I did Mega Traveler a lot.
Well, the coolest thing about Traveler is the system that they came up with to generate sectors and subsectors and build and map the galaxy. Mm-hmm. They did an utterly magnificent job of that. There's search for online traveler RPG map, and you'll eventually find one that they use Google Maps as the engine,
Oh.
and they've done a magnificent job. Yeah, and the Starship design system. Oh man, I have a spreadsheet that I still maintain for that. Just keep designing starships. And, yeah, so I have not played GURPS.
I played some GURPS campaigns.
Yeah. Yeah, Cold Silver, restricted video games, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. I recently went back and played through both of those.
In fact, you were playing with it tonight before the stream.
Yeah, exactly. Icewind Dale, which is the same engine. Neverwinter Nights, did that one.
Smudge plays Neverwinter Nights occasionally.
Well, there's Neverwinter Nights online.
Yeah, that's what she's playing.
Yeah, and then there's then there's just the regular Neverwinter Nights, which was just again more D&D stuff, except it was set not in the Sword Coast but further up. This is the same game world that Acquisitions Incorporated runs in.
Right.
Did I ever play MERP? No. Did not care for. Iron Crown was not my favorite company. They were a little bit too tabley, a little bit too table master. Oh yes, go for the eyes, boo! Go for the eyes!
Yeah.
Butt kicking for goodness!
Now, the only thing I will say about Middle Earth, the role-playing game, one of the things that I love about it, and I actually have the art of book is...
Duca found it. Duca found the clickable, navigatable map. And
it has page after page of glorious Angus McBride art. And Angus was one of my heroes growing up in college.
Yeah.
I bought every Osprey book that came out that had his work, and I pored over it because he was one of those people I strived to match. If I can do my work as good as Angus, then I know I'm somewhere.
There we go. I will tell you the story of Bomb Boy. Okay. This is a legendary story that may be apocryphal, and may have grown in the telling. Who cares?
It's good telling.
Champions is a system that you say that your powers, you buy them with points. If you get advantages, they cost more points. If you put disadvantage on it, they start getting to cost a fraction of points. So what you can do is you can stack up disadvantages. One disadvantage is that you can only use it, once per adventure, twice per adventure. They call it charges. 16 at 16 charges, there's no advantage or disadvantage. It just doesn't use your character's endurance, which is basically the stamina that you're spending to make your powers happen. You run out of endurance, then you don't power. So, Bomb Boy was run by the boyfriend of one of the players. She was really into the game. It was a hardcore gamer, and she basically clotheslined into doing it. You're gonna do this too. Okay, fine. He really wasn't into it, so he said, "Okay, give me the rules." And so one advantage is focus. It can be taken away from you. Like a suit is a focus. A sword is another kind of focus, but it's more of a disadvantage because it can be plucked out of your hands. While something like a suit is called inaccessible.
Or a green ring on your hand.
Yeah, exactly. It can be taken away from you after you've been defeated in combat. Another one is charges. With the cheapest version is you can use it once per adventure, and another one is activation. You have a percentage chance of it not working. You roll 3 6-sided dice, and lower is better. So 3 is a perfect roll, but that's only 1 in 216. Bomb Boy was made by this guy, and his power he just had some armor and stuff, but his main power was an explosion. They call it explosion with hole in center. That means it's an explosion centered on you, on wherever it is, but the actual target doesn't take any damage. Everybody else around them does. So he had an explosion with a hole in the center. 0 range, which is a disadvantage. In other words, it's centered on him. Obvious inaccessible focus. It was a giant tank strapped onto his back. One charge, activation on 3. In other words, you have to roll perfect 1, 2, 3. Also on the dice. And he had some other, minor things like that. But that was his nuke, And whenever he got frustrated, he started, I try to see if my bomb works. 1 in 216 chance. No, it doesn't. Finally, one day, he's wandering through the combat. He's got the little dead man, thing that he's going, click. Darn, didn't work. Click. Darn. Click. 1, 1, 1. The explosion proceeded to kill all of the villains, which is hard to do in Champions because it's not supposed to be a killing game. Killed a couple of the player characters and knocked the others out, and stunned into next Sunday. There was one character that was just still barely conscious, and he's like, "Why, Bomb Boy? Why?" And Bomb Boy just keeps wandering through the combat. Click. Darn. Click. They eventually got the idea this guy really didn't want to play. The epilogue to the story, according to the story, is that eventually the gal that roped him into it, dropped him as a boyfriend and ran off with a game master. So, probably isn't true. Who cares? It's a great story. Now, my Abuse the Rules character was a teleporter who had bought lots of dice of luck, spent a lot of points to buy money, wealth. I mean, he could, he was fabulously wealthy.
A Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, basically. Which actually brings up other news in a moment.
Yes.
He's fantastically wealthy. He was a smartass.
Okay, Darth Vader, go have fun drawing. That's actually one of the reasons why I do the stream is to encourage people to go out and do art themselves. Continue.
Exactly. So, again, smartass, teleporter, force field, energy blast, that kind of thing. He was just really, really, really hard to pin down because the moment you think you have him down, he either teleports away, or I would call for a luck roll, and because I spent a lot of points on luck, something would, a small plane would fall out of the sky and get between me and the bad guy, that kind of thing. That was Ion. He was very, very abusable. Generic, that sounds familiar. The head of Vecna. Vecna is, by the way, is a demigod in the official D&D universe. He's a lich. He's evil, evil, evil. Basically ascended to demigod status. And he's a heavy that shows up in a lot of the prepackaged modules.
Once again, the Seth. I need to buy a new sketchbook, actually. Darn you, Baron. Darn you. Ha 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 ha. I'm helping art retail vendors all over the country by encouraging people to create more art.
Yeah. One in particular. Yeah.
Yes.
Go buy it at University of Art.
Yeah.
So.
No, actually, I consider that really kind of the mission statement of doing these streams is the whole thing of saying, look, I'm kind of trying to demystify this,
Sailor, grab that pencil, grab that paper.
Yeah, I'm trying to
draw like nobody's watching.
Yeah, and I'm trying to demystify this. It's art. It's not some inscrutable, incomprehensible. You have to be touched by the gods to do this. No. No.
Yeah.
I mean, if this schmuck here can draw, you can draw.
Yeah. I used to draw.
Draw more.
Nah, I got other things I'm doing. I'm writing games instead.
That's fine. You're being creative at least. You're expressing yourself.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Okay, not a good day. Richard Hammond from Top Gear apparently got into a pretty nasty-looking crash, so he's off to the hospital.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
And, of course, we had the thing that we lost one of our great camp heroes today.
Yes. Adam West, who played Batman on the TV series, the really campy Batman, Zot, blam. Yeah, Adam West finally passed away, and God, what a class act he was.
Yeah, and talking about champion characters, I forgot what the guy's name was, but I had a character.
Well, they're saying that Hammond isn't too badly hurt.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
We like Richard Hammond.
Yes. But I had a champion's character who, his whole thing was basically illusionist. And the little drill we came up with, Second Glance was my character's name. And he would run into the room and run up to the villain, and he had these holographic generators. So he'd wail on the guy and he'd make this big biff, bam, pow appear. Literally. He just had this big like comic book biff, bam, pow.
Yeah.
Turn around and run out of the room. And while the villain's trying to look around the bam, the brick would come in and basically connect on him. The other thing he had was he had his own soundtrack. So he had his own sound music that went along with him. And he was all about presence attack and illusions and everything like that.
Yeah.
But that was my thing. I'll make an opening move for the guy, the mentalist, or the brick to come in and clobber someone because I'll jump in the room with this really incredibly flashy uniform.
Hey, Toxic.
Hey there! Toxic, glad you could join us. By the way, folks, if you don't watch Toxic stream, do.
Yeah. Yeah, Toxic does some very entertaining art streams too. You know, he'll while he's drawing art, he'll do things like run old game shows and Iron Chef. Yeah, things like that, and he has comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to you, Toxic.
And I feel actually very kind of a kinship connection to Toxic because apparently I've inspired a couple of comic strips that he's done recently. So it's like.
Oh, did you ever read Terry Pratchett's books? There was an agoraphobic banshee who who carried a door around with him and handed out cards. The card said, that sounds very Pratchett.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Actually, Toxic, yes, I did. I met Adam West very briefly at a San Diego Comic-Con way back in the 80s.
I never met the man.
Yeah, I mean, he would always, he was always up to take a picture with a fan or something like that. The usual one is, have the fan pose as if he's getting socked in the jaw by Adam West. I didn't have a camera with me, but he was so good with the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only type of from Comic-Con story I have like that was. Two of them. One was sitting at a panel and turn around looking at Jerry Doyle, Mr. Garibaldi.
Mr. Garibaldi!
He was sitting there, and he wasn't there for a Babylon 5 panel. He was there for a Captain Simeon.
Oh, yeah.
Which he was one of the voice actors for.
Yeah.
The other one was meeting Will Eisner in person in the Bud Plant booth.
Nice.
When Will was just a guy there shopping, and I had just bought his book, Comics and the Sequential Art, the night before, and had gone back to the hotel room and kind of annoyed people because I had spent a lot of time reading the book and not like chatting with folks because it was a very engaging book. If you're interested in the creative arts and the whole idea, because it's not just for comics, it's good for illustration and storytelling in general. And I remember walking up to Mr. Eisner, this guy in his 80s, and saying, "Wow, I really want to thank you for this book. I purchased it. I'm really enjoying it." And he looked at me and said, "Why?" Not because he didn't think I go, "Yeah, he's just saying this and he hasn't really read my book." He really wanted to know, as an artist,
what'd you get out of it?
What am I getting out of this? What could I do better? He had been doing this for over 50 years, and he still had not lost his passion and drive. And I thought that was just an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because there's an awful lot of the comic industry is like a lot of the entertainment industry. It can grind you down if you're not careful.
Exactly.
And he had not lost his love and his drive to make comics an actual, true, respectable art form. That was his mission in life.
Let's see. Yeah, Toxic. I don't do the autograph thing myself. Actually, the only things I have that are quote autographed. I have a couple of things from Hey Ocean. Notably my guitar, but a couple of signed this and that. So, and I have a Big Mac that was autographed by Lauren Faust, and a bottle of wine that was autographed by Lauren Faust.
Pinot Noir.
What's that?
Pinot Noir.
Oddly enough.
Yeah, that's not surprising. She's a
Plo Pegasi.
Because she's a Pinot monster, if I remember.
Oh, yes. You ever want to get on Lauren Faust's good side, you bring her a really good bottle of Pinot Noir.
Yes, that's her wine.
Yep. That's her jam.
Yeah, that's her kryptonite. Even though she didn't seem to mind the cinnamon apple pie moonshine we brought down that one time.
Yeah. That was. Oh yeah. Drunken MLP riders.
Yes, that was fun.
There was a benefit thing that Lauren Faust is on the board of directors of the Silmar Wildlife Rehab
Rescue
Foundation.
Center.
Yeah. And they have a close association with Cal Arts, where where they will bring the animators over to observe, various wild animals that are, like retired zoo animals, etc., and learn how to draw them. And so she was so enamored with that, she eventually ended up on the board of directors. And they do fundraisers, and and they had one where the several of the senior MLP staff, Lauren and M.A. Larson and Amy Keating Rogers and
oh yeah, darn it, Cindy Morrows.
Cindy R. Morrow.
Yes.
We're all there, and I brought down just as a little gift, some Pinot Noir for Lauren, because Lauren. There's also this stuff called apple pie moonshine, which is basically apple cinnamon whiskey. I brought down a couple of jars of that. It's like in a mason jar and everything, and people were like,
we were passing it around.
Yeah, they were like, "What is it? Sniff, sniff. This smells good." Take a slug, pass it around.
Yep.
There was none left at the end of the night.
Nope.
Yeah.
And we all sat around, told stories, and drank moonshine.
And we played Cards Against Punanity.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I had put together I have a Cards Against Humanity thing. No, it's not Cards Against Equestria. This is my own thing. That there's exactly 2 of these in existence, and we sat and we played MLP Cards Against Humanity stuff, and we learned Lauren's special trick.
Yes.
She is extremely double-jointed.
Yes.
Yeah, and can do absolutely scary things with her elbows and wrists, and it just make everybody cringe.
My comment when she did this thing with her fingers was, "Lauren, your rig is broken," which got some of the 3D people laughing. Because it was like that. That's what happens when you have a badly rigged 3D model.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be happening.
That was where we found out that Lauren and Cindy Morrow very much remembered
my wife.
Smudge. Yeah, because they went to school at the same time, and there apparently weren't too many. There are a lot of females in the writing department, but not a whole lot of them, like half a dozen. In animation.
Yep.
In character animation.
So they kind of banded together.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, Smudge, yeah, she's one who used to dress up in camo, and she's like 6 feet tall and can bench press a moose.
Yeah.
That was how she met Baron, was she bench pressed him right out of her chair when Baron had sort of bogarted it.
Yeah, I bogarted a chair at a convention, and she showed up and said, "That's my chair," and I was just, it's been a long day on the road, and I'd stood an awful long time in Con Reg, and I really wasn't in any kind of mood. I looked at this lady, I don't know who she is, I'm like, well, I don't see your name on this. So she kind of stared at me for a moment, went, and nodded her head, reached down, grabbed me, picked me up, and then dropped my ass on the floor.
Yep.
And I looked up at her and said, "I like you. You have spunk."
Yeah.
And I've been with her ever since.
Celestia and Luna are also quite fond of wine. I got to have lunch with Nicole and Tabitha. Absolutely hilarious conversation. I've never met Tabitha myself. So I spent some time with Nicole. She's great. Her favorite drink is Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio, white wine with a single ice cube. She also likes whiskey.
Tabitha likes Pinot Grigio?
No, Nicole.
I love Celestia even more. That's my favorite white wine.
Yeah, there you go.
That is my favorite white wine. What is the oldest thing, beer or wine that you've ever tried? And it was good.
Okay.
You first.
Okay. The oldest recipe known to humanity is a beer recipe from Mesopotamia. It is 6,500 years old. It was, and they found the cuneiform, tablet, the little triangle things pressed in the clay. Cuneiform is, and those old languages are well understood. They have been very well preserved. And they were able to translate it, and it was half recipe, half ritual. Because again, at the time, you drink this stuff and your head feels funny. Oh, that must be the gods. That was Inanna, a goddess of happiness and fertility and the liver. And so
So they already knew alcohol did strange things to your liver.
What happened was Anchorstein heard about this. That's a San Francisco craft brewers.
Yes.
And they said, "Hey, we can do this recipe." because basically what you do, it's very very much like a Russian drink called kvass,
Mm-hmm.
where you start with sweet bread.
Mm-hmm.
You soak the sweet bread in water, and you filter out, the floaty bits after a while. You add honey,
Mm-hmm.
and then you say the original recipe, you just set it out. Well, they were just using the wild yeast from the
Kind of a
Middle East.
lambic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the yeast that we use for beer is Middle Eastern wild yeast.
Mm-hmm.
So the ritual said you bake the bapir. Bapir is a bread that's made with, barley, oats, and dates.
Mm-hmm. Which would be
And honey.
sugar.
And honey, yeah. It's a very, very heavy bread. It's twice baked. You can store it for months. So you take the bapir, and then you offer the prayer, and you you soak it in the water, and you say the ritual, and blah 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 blah. So they said, we're going to make this, because we know how to make bapir. It's still made today. Well, what they did here in San Jose, just about 40 miles from San Francisco, there is the Rosicrucian Museum. It is a museum of antiquities, and the Rosicrucians practice the old religions, and they mean it. There are still practicing Zoroastrians. There are still practicing, priests of the old Egyptian gods. And they got, again, it's a world-class museum. Very cool. I've been there. I recommend
In fact, in September, we are going to have on as a guest artist an individual who actually taught at the Rosicrucian Museum.
Nice. So what happened was Anchor Steam called up the Rosicrucian Museum. They said, hey, there's this beer recipe. And they're like, yeah, we heard about it. Isn't that cool? Says, yeah, we're going to make it. Oh, that's cool. Do you have any Zoroastrian priests? Because the recipe says that you're supposed to say the words and do the prayer and chant the chants, and we'd like somebody to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They said, that is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for respecting that, and yeah.
Yeah.
So they set up
there.
so they set up one of their own, modern mystics, and they baked the bread, and he said the prayer, and they added the water, and he spoke the ritual, and did the whole thing, and they bottled it. It was called Inanna, and I tried it. It was back when I was in Chico. They only did it once, but I tried it. It's a 6,500-year-old recipe. That is the oldest. That is the oldest style I liked. It was kind of flat, but it was sweet. It was pretty good.
The oldest I had was not as far as recipe being old, but as old as far as drink was. When I turned 21, my Uncle Ron served me a bottle of wine that was vintaged in 1965, the year I was born. And so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, toxic. Were you actually talking about how old the actual alcohol itself? Oldest I ever had was 30-year-old Scotch.
Okay. I've had, like I say, when I turned 21, I got a bottle. I had a chance to have a bottle of 1965. I've had 20-year-old Scotch too, courtesy of this gentleman guy here. Just so you know, folks, every time you add like 5 years to the price of a bottle of whiskey, double it.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Although there are some old whiskeys that are more affordable than others, and there are some younger ones that are completely crazy.
Yeah.
I would say my personal favorite is a 17-year-old from Balvenie called the Balvenie Doublewood.
Yes. They
make a 12-year-old and a 17-year-old. The 12-year-old is very affordable and still very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's about $45 a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
The 17 is about 3 times that, but it's my all-time favorite at any price.
OMC 1594.
Yep.
You've been here before, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
You've been here before. Yeah. I was gonna say, welcome back.
Yeah. Now, Stephen Andrews, who does a lot of the music of My Little Pony, is the biggest Scotch, I'm going to go beyond aficionado and say snob, that I know.
It's almost a fetish for him.
It is a fetish for him. He freely admits it. I mean, he basically, money that he's not spending on musical equipment and rent, he is spending on old scotches.
Mm-hmm.
He's
invested in some distilleries.
Yeah, there's a distillery up in Canada that it's sort of a co-op, and basically you buy into it so you can say that you're an owner of a distillery. But there's a club that they'll bust open a bottle of 30-year-old Oxenocean, 40-year-old Bowmore, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
now that
And
actually might
share
be
it
good.
around. Yeah, and share it around.
Just so you guys know, Isle of Islay Scotch, if it's not at least 12 years old, it's a punk. It's a really, at least for me, it's a very, very up in your face. But when it gets about 12 years old, generally it finally gets some attitude and it finally behaves itself and it settles down and has a wife and kids.
Yep.
And stops being such a douche as far as beverages go. Okay, and we're coming up on 8:30 here, so.
Just about there.
Hey, Fizzy, just so you know, we're going to be taking a 5-minute break here in just a moment, and then we'll be back. For the last hour, we're going to be doing a request. So I'm going to be asking folks, after I come back from the break, what they want for a request. Don't give me a request right now, because I won't pay attention to it.
There we go. Okay, generic, we did it at the beginning, at the top of the segment.
Right. Yeah, we basically do it at the start of the hour.
Yep. Are we talking about liquor or children? Liquor. I would. Yeah. The difference is I like liquor.
Oh. But in some ways, it's surprising how certain personality traits will come across.
Yeah, although Stephen Andrews, the way he put it, he likes old scotches. He says, he says, I won't drink a scotch that's not old enough to take to bed.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't use those exact words.
But that was more or less what he implied.
Yeah, he likes scotch that's 18 years or older.
And he likes Talisker, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, he likes his swamp water.
Yeah, see,
He is an Islay guy.
I'm more of a Highland guy.
I am a Speyside guy.
If it's good spay.
Yeah.
It's good spay.
Yeah. Well, again, Macallan, Balvenie.
Yeah.
Those are my jam.
Yeah, yes they are. I have to. At some point, I need to get a bottle of the Balvenie Caribbean. I want to try where they've put in the rum barrel for the final finishing and see what that does to the. Because I have to admit, I'm becoming more and more of an appreciator of fine rums.
The Cat's Paw still likes, Baron characterizing Islay scotches as being hit in the mouth with a sack of doorknobs. That would be Talisker.
Yes.
Which is actually Isle of Jura. Not Isle of Jura. Isle of Skye.
Yeah, Isle of Skye.
Different.
But still, yeah, it's, it'll arm wrestle you. Okay, I'll do a little bit of last bit of tweaking on this when I get a chance to get home to just touch this up and everything. But we more or less got that, laid in an hour.
Yeah, nothing. Balvenie is a distillery.
Yes.
Not a Scottish girl. We like them under 12.
Yeah. Oh, what's that sound of the FBI kicking our door in? Oh, we switch cameras. Oh, dear. Hi, Mike.
So how about that local sports team, which actually lost last night?
I know. They blew their perfect playoff record.
Yeah. On the other hand, now they have a chance to win at home.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Which I know Oakland is going to be going, over police force.
We'll avoid.
We'll avoid. It has been very interesting to watch.
Here, have some more doorknob. Yeah, Lefroy.
Lefroy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was commenting about the fact that I'm not always in the mood for Talisker, but sometimes it's just what I need. And I looked at him and said, "Dude, if you're in the mood for things like that, there's professionals who will help you with the problem."
So toxic. Hold on to that question, and we're going to take our final break of the evening, and I'm going to go start the lasagna baking. I made it earlier today. It's sitting in the oven. I just need to turn it
on.
So we will. You see that's correct. I'm doing my community service here. They said knock that stuff up. So we will see you guys in 5 minutes. Again, as Baron said, there's going to be requests. Do not say them yet.
Yep, because if you say it now, I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so I'm going to click on this thing right here, and we will see you in 5. And we are back.
We are back to the last hour.
Griffins und Panzer.
Yes. Griffins and French maid outfits. Oh my gosh. It's like, as Cat's Paw says, it's Griffins all the way down.
Yeah. I've seen that drawing. It's kind of hot.
Yeah.
right, down to the final hour.
Yes.
So, just so that we can have the sailing clear, the first thing we're going to do, and because I'm going to tease the hell out of you guys and make you wait another couple of minutes,
That's right. Ha
is do the plug.
Do the plug at the top of the hour.
plug
That way, if it happens to be that Mike's just happening to come back in the room occasionally and look at the thing and make sure I'm upholding my end of the bargain, I am.
There it goes up here. I have to, since I didn't build in the overlay thing here, I have to go find the UA overlay.
We'll fix that.
Yeah. Ha! Bam! Thank you to our sponsors, University Art, because they are a art store that this gentleman worked at for 20 years, high-end framing.
Which means
high-end
they put me for 20 years.
They have if they can put up with him for 20 years, they can put up with weird clients.
Yes.
Like me, I'm a client there. I get all my framing done there. They have excellent art supplies. They offer seminars and workshops. And again, their framing shop is top rate. They've done artists that you've heard of like Rembrandt, Picasso, and this guy too.
Yeah.
Stores in Sacramento and Redwood City in San Jose, California. They are kind enough to be sponsoring this gentleman with
supplies,
art supplies, etc. So we want to say thank you to them. They're great folks, and we're going to have one of their current employees here in. Jai still does work there, right?
Yeah, she does.
Yes. In a month, showing some utterly fascinating art techniques called encaustics.
And also in September, we're going to have Jeff Braunschweiber, the assistant manager of the San Jose store, who, like I say, is taught at the Rosicrucian Museum. He actually knows traditional art, Egyptian art techniques, and he's going to be here in the
Going to do
studio.
some tomb painting.
Exactly. We're going to show you how it was done.
Yeah. So we have to get like ponies going. And
By the way, I'm just noticing a name here, Le Precious. There's not a lot of people show up. I don't remember seeing your name in the stream.
so if you are new, welcome.
Yes. Oh, and once again, just so folks know, yes, I've been drinking some mint juleps. Yes, I'm going to wait until I am safe to drive before I drive home because I
Hours to go
tonight.
before you sleep.
Exactly. That's why I'm pacing this drink out so that I'm not, just completely going, boom.
There we go.
All right. So,
Alrighty.
you have 1 hour. What would you like for a request? Let's hear it.
What do you want Baron to draw? No OCs of yours. You have to pay him for that. This is just silly stuff there. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yes.
My suggestion, since I like Life of Boris channel on YouTube, I would like to see a Boris pony.
Okay, folks, if you don't know what he's talking about,
Life of Boris,
Yes.
he's a riot.
yeah.
Okay.
You'll
So,
learn a little bit about Eastern European culture.
Let's see. Emmett Otterton from Zootopia in high school, awkwardly asking somebody to a prom. CMC und Panzer.
Mm-hmm.
Night Glider.
Okay, I kind of like that one.
Yeah. Patina dressed up as Anubis.
Night Glider.
Patina talking about liquor while using questionable terminology in front of AJ.
Oh, okay. Night Glider, as in Night Glider from the original Starlight episode?
Oh.
Is that what you're referring to there?
Jessica Knight and Rosemary Parker.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I win the.
I win. Okay.
I win the bet.
Okay, fine. I owe you.
Gazelle from Utopia. We have a second from CMC and Panza.
Okay,
Will eating from a pan of lasagna.
Okay, here's the question. If we happen to do CMC on Panzer, what kind of Panzer?
Yeah. Oh, there. Oh my God. Patina as a Muppet.
You have to understand.
Hey ho, Kermit the Muse here.
You have to understand. I actually have a hand puppet.
There we go.
That's a mouse of Patina.
Patina as Batmouse.
Yes.
Or Renamon.
Yeah, Rosemary's a fantasy sorceress. Okay, that's a possibility.
Your take
there.
on a Timberwolf from MLP.
That could be interesting too.
Celestia as Flufflepuff. Well, Celestia, the way that Mixer Mike does it, he is certainly, his version of Celestia is certainly chill enough for that.
Yeah, she is.
Carousel taking a bath I mean, Rarity in the heavenly body, Ming the merciless ponified.
Was that Carousel taking a bath? Where's that?
That was for that. Somebody had that.
Carousel taking a bath. Okay, that's
yeah.
nice.
Rosemary is a fantasy sorceress. Saffron Masala, Sherman Firefly, Attila the Hun ponified. Ponified William Shatner at his table at the Daring Do.
Saffron Masala from season 6.
Yes.
Question: Saffron in show pony style or anthro?
Sounds like we've landed on Saffron.
It may be a possibility.
Princess Luna as a psychiatrist. That's it. Luna psychoanalyzing, Dr. Wolf.
Yes.
Dr. Wolf on the couch.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of curious if Saffron is good. Saffron show style, okay.
Generic, I don't even want to know. Churchill.
Yeah.
We will ponify them in the morning.
Saffron is Catwoman. No.
So we have Saffron is good. Show style.
Pony.
Anthro.
Pony.
Saffron is Catwoman. That's cheating. Anthro Pony. It's running about equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pony. That's one to vote for Pony. We're going to leave this up for a couple more seconds. People chime in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Looks like Pony edged it out.
All right.
All right. It's going to be Saffron Masala in quadruped style.
Now I need to do a little bit of Google searching. So far, folks, here as I go Googling.
Yep.
Oh, modern technology is so great. How I would have loved to have had this in the 80s. My life would have been so much better.
All right.
All right. Okay.
KV2, Stalin's derp tank.
There we go. Yeah, well, it really was kind of the
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. All right.
All righty. So you got your. All righty. So I'm gonna do this.
Do the camera switch.
That's
do that cool 1 second transition fade now.
Wow.
Do people like that? Do people like the camera fade?
Yeah. Are we fancy yet?
Yes. Okay. Wow.
It's just a good finger. Go look up something called Deft Hands. It's it's a YouTube video of someone that put all the syllables from the Daft Punk song "Work It." So it would be like you would only see "work it," and then there's all the different syllables, and they did the whole song. It was very almost creepy. It's like that was somebody. Care to win as Ming the Merciless. Okay.
You've almost got the right beard for it. This is a little bit of.
I have way too much hair still.
Grecian formula.
Mm.
Oh, I wonder if we could grease up Dusty's beard and make it look.
I'm sure very popular with ladies. Yeah. Rockin'. Yeah.
Okay, are we in camera? Yes. Now, this is very, very light, folks. Don't worry. It's going to get darker.
KV2 so top heavy that it fired the gun perpendicular to the hull so it can flip over on its side. Yeah. Calvados wooing Celestia. We've got actually 2 or 3 of those.
Yes.
Well, not so much wooing, just because he knows he has no chance. No, Calvados is my own OC, who's completely smitten with Celestia. He knows very well, very realistic, but
Very pragmatic.
Very pragmatic, but that is his princess.
Yes. And he was tastefully flirting with her.
Well,
Tastefully.
yeah.
He's a class act.
Yeah. Well, he tries.
Yes.
Calvados can fake it.
Yes.
Because if you can fake sincerity, you can fake anything. No. But
wasn't that Robin Lynch's comment on Space Ghost Coast to Coast?
No, actually, that was on Johnny Bravo, the guy that did the "I'm just a bill, only a bill," that song from Schoolhouse Rock, showed up to give Johnny Bravo tips on how to meet the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And his whole thing was, and of course, being who he is, the guy that sang, I'm just a Bill. He sang a song about sincerity, and then he finally finished up and says, "If you can fake that, you can fake anything." It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, Baron, let's start off with this. Give us the weirdest customer you ever had to serve while at the framing store.
Okay, weird.
Aside from, "Ay, El Diablo!"
Yeah,
Of course, that wasn't a customer.
That wasn't a customer. I never got to help them. They just screamed, hopped in their car, and drove off. So that doesn't count.
Yeah.
The weirdest customer I think I had to deal with at one point was an individual who came up to the counter, and when you'd work the frame counter, after a while, you kind of learned how to do a really quick judging. Okay, where does this person fit in the scale?
Is this person actually going to spend money?
Yeah, and also too, am I hearing the theremin music? They feel like they walked out of crop circles. I feel like men in black are going to come running in and haul them off into a van any moment. And this person comes walking in, walks up to the counter. I have actually several stories on this, but they walked up and they said, "I've been told that framing can make any art look beautiful. Make this look beautiful." And he threw this canvas down on the countertop. I don't know I can't remember now whether it was something that his daughter had done or his wife had bought it in a moment of indiscretion at some art fair or something like that. But as I described it to Jaya, it looked like a chihuahua had gotten hit by a big old 4x4 truck and was stuck to the bumper. Because you had the silver background and you had this red splatter and then you had these brown tones to it that kind of looked, they were kind of fuzzy almost looking. So it kind of looked like fur. And I'm kind of going, okay. Now, we had a line at the frame counter, and maybe I'm giving away a little bit of the framing world here. Sorry, Mike, if you happen to be lurking and listening to this. But we had a
Tell us the
line,
secrets.
which was, you didn't say, "Oh, that's interesting," because that was a buzzword that most people know nowadays as far as,
That's right up there with, "I'm sorry you feel that way."
Yeah, oh my God, what is this? But we had a line which was, "I've never seen anything like this before," and I can truly say that was the case. So it was one of the more challenging framing designs. Now, framing designs that I wasn't there for, it wasn't a project I had to write up, but I watched the fallout of it, was framing a bowling ball. Now think about that for a moment. Basically, this was a bowling ball that a guy had won a tournament with, and he wanted to put it in a shadow box frame. Now, there are frames that they call stackables, which you can actually put a frame on top of a frame, on top of a frame, on top of a frame, to basically create enough depth to put a large object into.
Yeah, basically a nested shadow box.
Right. Okay, that's all fine and good. And if we had been able to do certain things like, okay, we're going to take 3 large plexiglass rods and basically put them to the back piece of plywood, we're going to use backing material on the fabric, and then stick those in the finger holes, yeah, you can frame this thing pretty straightforward. No, the customer wanted to be able to see their finger holes of their bowling ball. They want people to understand that really was a bowling ball and not a gigantic marble. So watching the guys in the frame shop have to come up with a solution for framing a bowling ball was actually quite an experience. We built them lots and lots of hours of, we had to do like engineering to make that work. Kieran said, we used to get all kinds of weird stuff. You'd get,
There was Magic Jamaican Woman.
Yes, there was Magic Jamaican. Yeah,
yes, they missed Wings of Blue.
Yeah, now that wasn't a case of a framing customer. That was just somebody who came in the store. And one day, this lady came in, and she looked like she was sent down by Central Casting. If you needed, okay, look, we need a scene. We're shooting this in New Orleans, and we need your quintessential big black voodoo mama. Okay.
In other words, Zecora.
Exactly, Zecora. And we need her to come in, and this lady had come in the store before I had punched into my shift. So I punch in, I come out on the floor. And there's this lady walking around, and, big floral platter shirt, big head wrap, beads, the size of billiard balls around her neck and everything like that. And she's walking around the store. She's a very, likable, smiling and everything like that. But immediately I twigged to the idea that when she would walk past someone and, they would say, "Oh, hello, excuse me," hello. and try to get past her, she didn't respond back with hello or thank you or, no, have a good day. She responded back in these kind of rhymes like, rose of white in hand. It's a pleasure to meet you today.
Very poetic.
Very poetic.
Not necessarily rhyming, but poetic.
Poetic. And so, it's part of my job. I'm supposed to go out and greet customers and say hello to them and find out if they need anything. So I walk up to her and say hello, welcome to University Art. Can I help you with anything? And she turns around and without even, a beat or, a pause or anything like that, she turns around, looks at me and goes, "Winged Stallion of Blue, it's a pleasure to meet you." Now, if any of you have followed my Equestria Dreamscape stuff, you know that my Skybrush persona is a blue stallion.
Pegasus, yeah.
And so there was
after Baron picked up his jaw off the ground.
Right, and there was this moment where someone took the needle and drug it across the soundtrack music.
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh, well, it's a pleasure to meet you too." And I wanted to ask her a whole pile of questions, and before I could, my boss called me in the back, and by the time I finally finished up all that business and came out and wanted to talk to this lady and ask her some questions, she apparently had rung up and left. And she never came back in the store again. And I never...
You met Zecora?
I cannot... To this day, I cannot twig to why I walked up to her, just kind of dressed in a plaid shirt. I wasn't wearing like a pony shirt or anything like that. I wasn't wearing anything brony-ish. Why she would twig this whole thing of calling me Winged Stallion of Blue.
I guess we'll never know.
She never came back in the store in all the years she met. I've never run into her anywhere else in San Jose. That was my just like, okay.
Or maybe she saw you on the show.
Well, I wasn't streaming yet.
There you go.
I hadn't even done Dusty stream when you guys lived back on Camden Oaks Court when you went to meet Steve Roney. I'd only been really watching the series for a few months at that point, so it was kind of like, lurch.
Yeah. And earlier, actually, Toxic had asked a fun question. Of all of the show staff that you've met, who's the one that's most fun to go out and have a drink or two or three or four or five with?
Ooh. Stefan was kind of cool, but I have to admit, Larson. Amy Keaton Rogers is fun too.
Well, Amy, once she warms up to you, it's like, oh, she is just best pal. She very 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 chummy, very friendly, very informal. Once she
and I've gotten lucky. I've gotten kind of in that inner circle with her.
Yeah.
But I will say, wherever Larson is, the party is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I learned that at EQLA.
We saw the psychoanalysis therapy session, which was pure magic.
That whole thing gave me so much more respect for him.
Yeah. Background, folks that have not heard this story, so you can look this one up. But
EQLA Daily.
Yeah. I think it was EQLA 2014 or
2015.
2015. There was a panel. Okay, something that's become sort of a tradition is drinking panels. That's where the panelists, keep getting handed drinks, and the questions and the answers get weirder and weirder, and everybody has a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was going to be a panel there with Lauren Faust, who doesn't do very many conventions,
and she hadn't done any pony conventions for quite a number of years.
Right. And we found out why.
Yes.
So Lauren was the panel was going to be Mitch Larson interviews Lauren Faust.
Sounds straightforward.
Yeah, because the thing is, Mitch is completely inside of the show. He'd been the story editor for a couple of years. Written some of the absolute very best.
And had been there from the very beginning.
Right. So he knew all the stuff there, and so he was just him and Lauren
on stage.
Yeah, and they brought out a pitcher. It turns out the pitcher was full of gin. Straight gin.
Wow, I have more respect for Lauren and her ability to
put it down. Yeah.
Yes. Damn it.
Yeah, and they started talking. Asking, okay, tell us about getting in a pony, da 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 da. And she got more relaxed, and the questions became sharper,
More pointed.
more, yeah, yeah. So, what do you feel about, as about, the directions the show has gone, it's, things like that. Things that, sensitive questions. Then, and by this point, both Lauren and Mitch had some stuff there, and he finally just looked her in the eye and said, "What do you want to tell the fans?"
Yeah, because he had asked her this question a couple of days before in private.
Yes. And she got real quiet for a second, and then in a really quiet voice she said, "I'm afraid that you guys don't miss me." Because the show has gone on to tremendous success without Lauren at the helm. So she's now questioning, whether she ever really mattered, whether it really was her all along. And of course, the audience was having none of that.
No, we would not.
Not for a second. And, it's just everybody was just shocked. And by the time she left, she was in tears.
Yeah.
Because she knew that if she ever needed an army to go and take over a small town or maybe a equatorial country, she's got one.
Right.
Just aim the fandom at it, and she will have what she desires.
She had standing room only in a 500 room seat auditorium. There were people standing out in the hallway chanting her name. I remember Mitch told her, "Hold your phone up and record this. If any moment in the future you doubt that people don't care about what you're trying to do, watch this video."
Yeah. Because I think one of the quotes was, it was sort of a paraphrase of something from this book that a lot of people find importance in. "You are the rock upon which I will build." And
it was quite a moment to be there in that room.
Yeah, and the other great moment with Lauren was when she met Bonnie Zachary for the first time.
Yes.
Bonnie Zachary
created
My Little Pony way back in the late 70s, early 80s. And when Lauren met Bonnie Zachary for the first time, it was on stage. They had not met. And they met on panel. And she went so fangirl squeak.
And somebody had found her an original My Little Pony.
Yes, one of the ancient ones from eBay. It cost quite a lot. And she's like, and handed it to, given it to Lauren. Lauren, of course, was very happy about that. And then she's, "Would you please sign My Little Pony?"
Because they had the box and everything still.
And Bonnie Zachary, she's great too. Very entertaining, very dry, sense of humor. And very witty.
And very much kind of amused by this whole fandom and culture that has grown up out of her. I was just trying to design toys.
Yeah. So, but getting back to Toxic question, say who's the best one to drink with? Actually, Dusk touched on it. Lee Tokar. When he gets a few into him, he is the life of the party.
Peter New's kind of fun to hang with.
He is. Well, he is. Well, when you go drinking with Peter New, you will talk about life, the universe, and everything, because he wants to hear about you and your thoughts and, your morality and your hopes and your fears. He when you go drinking with Peter New, he wants to get to know you. And never mind this show crap that's between you and him. Yeah, fine. Yep. Okay. Now tell me about you. Very good people person.
One of the defining moments for me with Peter was back at Evergreen Northwest 2013, the convention where I spent a lot of my time actually in the bar because it was a great location to be at, and people kept buying me drinks, so I would keep drawing. Funny thing. Yes, by the way, if I'm at a con and I'm in the hotel bar, that's a definite way to keep me drawing is keep buying me drinks as long as I get back to where I need to sleep that night. My wife demands that.
Yeah.
And my wife edits these videos before I put them up on YouTube, so she's going to hear that little comment, just so you know.
Yeah.
But Peter was sitting in the bar, and there was this mother who came up who had brought her son to the con that weekend, and she wanted to thank Peter because Peter apparently at some point after a panel or something like that, the fellow had approached him and talked to him, and she was thanking him about the fact that it was so wonderful how everybody at the convention made him feel welcome, and I got this feeling, and I can relate to this, growing up as a kid, I wasn't one of those kids who was popular in school.
So a kid that maybe somewhere on the autism spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody made him feel welcome, and he so loved the fandom for it, and she wanted to thank Peter for everything that he had done. And I remember looking at Peter and commenting about the fact that, there's some people in society who like to kind of popo MLP and the fandom for wanting to come together for something that basically celebrates a very basic part of the human condition. That's friendship. And I said, it's kind of odd that, in a reflection of our society, that people would consider that abnormal behavior.
Or something worthy of mockery.
Right. And that I had read an article several years before talking about the number of people who had watched Star Trek, the original TV series, and had gone into careers in science and medicine and, exploration because of to boldly go where no man's gone before. And I was wondering about if in, another 20 years, some of these fans all over the world, because unlike Star Trek, it was a global phenomenon right off the bat. If these men and women might someday meet together in a room negotiating some kind of treaty. And if at that point the lessons of friendship is harmony might sway them. They might forget where they're thinking this way, but they carry out the actions. And if that's true, then the people who are working in DHX and what Lauren has done, they've done an amazing, gift for humanity. Okay, that's me being a bit sentimental.
Indeed. But definitely worthy.
Yes.
Definitely worthy. Let's see. So Lee is the life of the party. Mm-hmm. Peter. Yeah. Again, if you can connect to Peter on a person-to-person thing, it's like he is a fascinating person.
A lot of depth.
Yeah. Those waters run deep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see. The thing is, I've hosted several parties for VIPs where everybody really got kind of pickled, and there's some stories that that I don't want to break trust.
Right.
And
same here.
Yeah, exactly. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. But.
I now will say
the count of show staff that has passed out on my bed is 4.
And I will say this much: they're not part of the staff, but GM Barrows.
Hey, Drill.
GM Barrows' parents are awesome.
Oh, they are. Well, again, I actually worked with. This is funny. I think I've told you guys this story before.
But if you're new, hey, you get to hear the story again.
Yeah, there you go. See.
Context.
Yeah. Okay. Back in the mid-2000s, 12, 13 years ago, I worked at a network security company with a gentleman named Mike Barrow. He was one of our lead engineers. I was one of the QA leads. I tested his stuff. He did the database engine and stuff like that. Very, very good engineer. Once in a while, his daughter would come in, say she was college age, and she would always bring a velvet cake, red velvet cake, basically kind of a chocolate cake. Okay, fine. Years later, I get a call from another friend who from the same company, Courtney.
Courtney. I met Courtney.
Yeah. He was at the Hey Ocean thing.
Yes.
Yeah, Lurch the webmaster.
Yes.
And 6'8".
Yeah.
And Courtney's like, hey, you remember Mike? Yeah, you remember his daughter? Yeah, she works on that TV show that you're so into. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, she's writing the books. Oh, G.M. Barrow. Oh, Jillian. Mm-hmm. Yes, the one who. The guy that I used to work with, his daughter G.M. Barrow, the one who was writing all of the, Pony Kids books,
And now writing episodes.
and is writing episodes now. Small world.
Yep.
Yeah.
6 degrees.
Yeah. In some cases 2.
Yeah.
And she'll have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 drinks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to admit, one of the things about your parties that were amazing was you had Sean Rabbit and his SO.
Andy.
Andy, tending bar. And they were...
Best bartenders on the planet.
Oh, yes.
Best bartenders.
So stylish.
Yeah.
And they look good in tuxedos.
Yeah. We back in 2013 at the convention that shall be not named, except that it was in Las Vegas.
Supposed to be another one there.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing I say on the webpage is we're paying everybody in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they're trying.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Different people.
Yes.
Because the ones that did Unicon, the police are still after them, at least a couple of them.
Yep.
But, or at least that's the last I heard.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that may be apocryphal. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I rented the Frank Sinatra suite in the Riviera because that was where the thing was being held. It was the suite that Frank Sinatra would have back when he was...
The Desert Rat Pack?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, huge, 3,000 square feet.
Holy crap!
Yeah, yeah. So
That's twice the size of what I live in.
that's half again as big as this place. Yeah, so we're gonna have a party, not connected with the convention or anything, because I want to be able to pour my own booze and And my buddies Sean and Andy live in Las Vegas, and they had they both knew how to tend bar. Andy knew how to do it professionally. Because he had gone on to do things like arrange conventions, not Spanish conventions, but things like Consumer Electronics Show. For him, a small convention was 5,000.
Yes.
And that was the convention that everything went wrong. We won't go into the details on that, except where's the money.
Right.
But we had handed out invitations to all of the show staff. Again, Dusty had interviewed most of them because it was the interview fandom. And said, show up in something nice. We're going to be classy. And Dusty and I went out and bought tuxedos.
I remember when you picked those up.
Yeah, and and everybody was dressed up in tuxes, and we were just going, we had some 50s music, and we were just doing the whole thing.
Whole Madman thing.
Yeah, whenever one of the guests arrived, if it was a guy, he would get a carnation boutonniere. If it was a lady, she would get a rose. And Brenda Critchlow, Andrea Libman, and Nicole Oliver showed up almost at the same time. All of them dressed in slinky dresses. And let me tell you, they wear them well. But this is weird. When Brenda came in, and she's another, just so warm and friendly when you meet her. But I handed her a rose and said, "What's
Hey,
this?"
Jarrell.
Hey, Jarrell. What's this rose for? You're coming to my party. Thank you. Every lady gets a rose. It's a rule. She started crying. I was like, oh crap! Did I stumble on a landmine where somebody had done her wrong when he gave her a rose? She said, no, nobody's ever given me a rose before. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with the universe when somebody as classy and nice as Brenda Critchlow has never had somebody hand her a rose? That was just wrong. But
well, you made the world a little more right that night.
Well, I just do my bit. But yeah, that was so we had a lot of the voice actors there. We had one of the Eds, Sam. I forget what this guy's name. Sam something. He's like Ed with 2 Ds.
Well, I talk about the guys and the gals who really don't get enough.
There was Lee. There was Daniel Ingram and Denny Liu, who's gone on to he did the orchestration and all the music in. I think he's doing a couple of the. He's done some of the shorts, and he did.
Isn't he at Pixar now?
No, he's still there. No, he did the The recent Hearthstone tale.
Yes, with Starlight
Yes, I was trying to
and
remember the
Snowfall
name.
Frost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he did all that music.
Okay.
So he was there, and of course there was Peter, and there was Stan Lee, and there was John Delancey. Tara by that time had left the convention, but let's see, Sam Vincent, yeah, this guy, and Vincent Tong, was there. The whole pack of Creepers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they are a pack.
Yeah, oh yeah. Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I just mentioned Andrea. Yeah, it's a pretty good load there, and everybody drank, and then they got the news: you guys ain't getting paid because somebody had disappeared with the money. And then everybody was depressed. It's like, that's tomorrow. Tonight, you're going to party like it's 1959.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing was immediately call up the hotel and says, I'm going to need the following liquor, please. 5 of these, 4 of those, 7 of those, and 5 of them. And the party went on until all hours. And let me tell you, there are some guys that can put it away, but it was one hell of a party.
Yep. Oh yes, Orca. You will get to find out what exactly happens when Twilight ascends to Alicorn status, and it gets very interesting because she's still teaching Patina magic lessons, but now Twilight's a princess, and that gets a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Of course, it's also going to get very much more interesting in the near future because somebody who's been told not to go wandering into other ponies' dream fabrics without permission
is going to be breaking the rules.
and is going to go wandering in Patina's.
Oops.
And she's going to learn things a few years ahead of schedule.
Uh-huh. Nice. Good way to reconcile the timelines, by the way.
Yeah, I'm basically we're getting towards Tirek in my dreamscape. Season 4 is chewing along. The big thing has been dealing with Flutterbat, actually.
Mm.
And the fact that it doesn't quite wrap up as neatly in my dreamscape as it did in the show. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but a cat's paw took turned off the timer and...
Yeah, I saw.
Okay.
I saw, yeah. The lasagna is cooling and becoming something less than molten.
Right.
Lasagna is best served very, very warm, but not hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's basically a pan full of napalm.
Yeah. Brain bleach cannot unsee. Yep.
Yep. All I'll say is it involves glazed donuts.
Yeah. So, Toxic says, besides Berry Punch, which ML character seems like would be the best character to have a beer and wine with? Well, I know my answer to that, but I've already got that.
What would that be?
Celestia.
Celestia, yeah. Actually, would definitely be a good one.
Yeah, John Delancey is tall.
Yes, he is. He's a very tall fellow. No one has to get a half apple for him to be able to be tall in a shot.
Now, so yes, definitely, say who in the MLP world would I want to go out and have a drink with? Not because I was pursuing anything, but just to say, tell me about you. Would be Celestia.
Celestia's a good one. Luna would probably be a good one too.
Is she old enough to drink? No. Well, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she would have had a couple of 100 years, before, or at least a few decades between arrival in Equestria and the incident.
Basically.
Because there was just so much that was going on in those years.
Yeah, basically the cosmic timeout box.
Yeah. I don't know if John Delancey drinks.
I know, at least for my headcanon, one that's very amusing to take for a drink is Fluttershy, but not for the reason you guys are thinking, probably. And that actually will come up as part of a dream arc, is Fluttershy going out drinking with somebody and her not really liking to go out drinking because this always happens whenever she goes out drinking with this person, and then other things happen.
Yep.
I'll leave it at that.
Well, yeah. Of course, the other thing is that Celestia probably just metabolizes everything, which is why she eats so many donuts and cakes.
Exactly. Yeah, she's
Yeah,
got.
that takes a lot of energy to power Alicorn magic.
Yeah, she's got a blast furnace for metabolism.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, folks are liking, so are definitely liking your pony here.
Oh, good. Excellent. That's the idea. I mean, if they don't like this, then they won't stick around or come back again next week. Or in 2 weeks when I do this again.
Yeah. Celestia would not be a cheap date given her ability to pack the drinks away.
Nope.
I suspect she would buy. She would insist.
Yeah, she'd buy, she'd insist, and it would be all top shelf. And so would the
I can provide the shelf.
appetizers that would go along with it.
Oh, yeah.
She wouldn't be one of these people who just drink and that'd be it. No,
1,000 years of compound interest is going to be your friend.
Yes.
Yeah, say Celestia is fueled by ethanol like a dragster. Yeah, you've heard of Everfree. How about Everclear? The
Yeah.
Everclear forest.
Yeah. As my dreamscape the one time, she's actually shown up for dinner a couple of times. That's not spoiling too much, but she's going to come back for dinner a couple of times at our little cottage in my dreamscape. And fortunately, in the future when she does that, she does send me 4 warnings. So it's like, okay, I'm going to be cooking for 8 ponies because 4 just for her, at least.
Yeah.
And
So,
she's perpetually noshing. She's a nosher.
yeah, there you go. This is a core attending bar. Those would be some interesting concoctions. They might even do things.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So
and,
what time are we looking at? Okay, we got 15 minutes. Oh,
plenty of time,
I'm doing bear time. I thought once again, I always think, oh my god, I've got 5 minutes left. I go, I got 15. Okay, cool.
Luna and Celestia do have more. Yeah, well, of course. We don't know about Luna because I think she stopped getting her allowance. But yeah, like I said, 1,000 years of compound interest let you buy a castle or 2.
Yes.
Of course, Pink Pony insists that best drinking partner would be Pinky. I don't think the universe is ready. I think that Pinky plastered would probably not be a good thing.
By the way, folks, you didn't get me.
Yeah.
I caught myself.
There you go.
Studio glasses. I only noticed that when I looked up at the monitor here.
Yep. Yeah.
You're bad.
Yeah. Now my OC is a distiller and by trade. He makes apple cider and Calvados brandy, apple brandy, and
yes, you have failed. Hang your head in shame.
There you go.
Sorry, Calvados. Yes.
Yes. It is. But his whole shtick is high quality booze. So I have pictures of Calvados. His goal is to be named, purveyor of fine whiskeys to the table of the royalty of Equestria.
Or brandies.
Yeah.
He does very good brandies, I understand.
Well, apple brandy. Well, he does some regular brandies too, but he leads with ancient malice, Malus, because that's the name of the genus of apple trees is Malus, Malus, and he has Nightmare Moon as a logo, and he refused to change it when Nightmare Moon was released. It's like because you do not rewrite history.
Mm-hmm.
It would be an awkward meeting with Luna, but
Yes.
it's like it happened.
Yeah.
Would you like a bottle?
Yes.
And again, I know how to abuse rule systems. This is a character from Cat's Paw's
Ponytails
game, and again, just the way things worked out and the way the rules work, he is an absolute monster of a brewer.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you guys can actually download Cat's Paw's. Cat's Paw, you do have the rules.
Yeah, that's up on this DeviantArt.
Yeah, if you go to DeviantArt, you can download the cat.
Linky.
Yes, the Cat Ponytails role-playing game that he's worked on.
So Mad Badger says, "Whose piece is this?" Well, that's going to depend on who buys it when it goes up for.
That's right. This is a request. I'm just doing this for the hell of it.
Yeah. There does seem to be about 60 seconds of latency tonight, Sean.
Yeah.
More than usual.
Mm-hmm. That could be internet weather.
Yeah. So tell you what, if I'm falling asleep on a pony, snuggle up with Pinky. If you fall asleep in Celestia's hair, you might end up in another dimension.
That's why Discord likes.
Well, that's why you don't fall asleep in her hair. You just use the royal backside as a pillow.
Mm-hmm.
What, you wouldn't?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good gods, how can you do that? You look away from your board even for a second, and your hands keep drawing as if you were still looking at it.
Like I'm doing right now? Like right now I'm looking at? Yeah, that it's a thing. Actually, one of the things I've discovered doing digital art is the realization that I really don't actually work off of visual. I work off of tactile. I'm feeling how the paper is responding to the pencil lead. So I can actually look at you and the camera here in this case, and just keep on drawing, and I can actually get things to line up. I was kind of surprised when I discovered this. It was
Well, how many tens of millions of times do you think you've made that motion to make it total muscle memory?
Oh God, I don't know. I've lost
all
track
of them.
All of them. But so I can sit there and like basically look at the camera and basically get the curvature of her mane and the shadows and the highlights all coming in here. And this is the result of drawing for over 50 years. If you've been drawing for 50 years, you can look away from the camera for a moment, and you can actually get a pretty good idea of still what the hell you're doing. Does that get the point across, Nizumi?
That and he's working with an eraser still there.
Yeah, but I'm not erasing anything. You'll notice. I'm just
Yeah.
going away and just going there.
Yeah, well, it gives you the confidence. I was like, oh, I can.
Yeah,
you would not do this with acrylics.
I would be a little bit more careful, but if I knew exactly how the brush responded with the working surface, I could be looking at the camera like I'm doing right now and get things all kind of come together nicely. Yeah.
So Baron is Bob Ross 2.0.
Kinda. Yeah.
Except that we're not going to get him a perm.
No. I refuse to have a fro.
Back in the 80s, just for a very short period of time, Cindy talked me into it. Somebody I was hanging out with at the time, and Lance, go get a perm. I looked like a used Q-tip. Never again.
I tried long hair in college. I tried long hair and I tried a beard. I actually had a goatee, kind of like you had.
Yeah.
And then one day I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, I look like every axe murderer on FBI's most wanted list, and no dad's ever going to let me date their daughter. So that all went away.
Yeah. Now, as you folks probably tell, I'm growing out my hair. I'm gonna go for that Saruman thing.
You're going for the Saruman look?
Well, not quite that unkempt, but a long time ago, I had it down to mid back, and I'm going to see how much length I can get here and just wear it in a ponytail. Ha ha, funny. But that's
you said not me.
Yeah, some people call it the hippie ponytail. It's going to be the academic ponytail style. Yeah, we'll see.
You'll be able to fit over Santa Cruz just fine.
Well, the difference is that I will bathe.
This is true.
No, if it's combed out and all that, and we'll say what the heck, I'll dye it purple or something. I don't know. We'll see where I end up. It depends on where I end up working. The place I'm at right now is an odd mix of extremely liberal and extremely conservative. So I'm just letting it grow out. Yeah. So kind of like touch typing. Yeah. Yep. Mad Badger, old man ponytail. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. The blues singer ponytail.
Make it feel I'm gonna throw the desk out the window. Acrylics. I don't.
Pro Fantasy Campaign Cartographer 3.0.
When I was in college, I had to take some of my illustration classes because, to be quite honest, if you're going to be an illustrator, acrylics is technically a better medium to work in. Every time I worked in acrylics, it felt like nuclear arms negotiation, with me basically asking the media, look, I need to get a solid stripe of color from here to here. Can we come to some kind of agreement? And having the medium kind of look at me and go, "Niet."
She's not for doing.
Oh God, please! And I was, now of course this was back where we had a lot of the gels and a lot of the mediums that you kids nowadays have.
You kids are the things that you do and that you say.
Yeah, it didn't have that back in the '80s. So all we had was gel media, and gel media just basically blew chunks. It sucked, as far as I'm concerned. I liked gouache so much, and I was so happy that I could incorporate it into my color pencil technique because I already bought all these tubes of paint. They still worked. My problem was I was doing a completely radical different color pencil technique, and all my instructors were looking at going, "That's amazing. I don't have a clue what you're doing. Good luck. I have no way of being able to provide you any kind of guidance." So I was like, yay, I'm on the part of the map that says, "Here be dragons." So when you guys watch me, like this Celestia piece here tonight and everything with cannabis, you're looking at that, realize that's 30 years of me making train wrecks, picking myself off the ground, going, well, I'll never do that again. I make this all look so effortless. That's because I've been doing it for decades. Practice, 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 practice every day. You know, as Cat's Paw has commented, you know, you'll hear these stories about, you know, this author that, you know, it's overnight sensation, and it's like, no, that's an overnight sensation. It was 30 years in the works. You just found out about them. Let's see here. I have 5 minutes left to get this hindquarter shade. Let's see if I can get this done.
Work them buns.
That's right. Let's go get this shading. I need to get this shading on the underside later because I gotta get some shadow in. So we'll put that in place. And then we'll go back in on top of the regular body shading, and I'll do the lines that go right back over where I did the shade area, and those will get darker automatically. Are you trying to do Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
Believe me, the dragonborn comes.
Okay, that was a turn of a
That's the hymn of the dragonborn from Skyrim.
Oh yes, actually, Mad Badger, that was kind of the feel you were getting. In fact, DWK and his analysis was commenting on the fact that he really felt like this is really feeling kind of racist. And then I realized, no, wait, I'm the one being racist.
Yeah. Why is you know, using North American say stuff as a region not even worth noticing, but using any other region in the whole world, suddenly something bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, it's because we've decided that we are the standard.
Mm-hmm.
And oh shit. Oh, My Little Pony, you never cease to remind me what a piece of crap I am. Yeah, no.
That's why I like watching DWK. He makes me stop and pause and go, well, what the hell?
But you got a point there.
Yeah, what the hell? I have this, do I have these blind spots in my own?
Oh, guaranteed everybody does.
Yes.
Everybody does. Here's one for you. Accents. Whenever you think of a character, you know, like a Russian fellow having you know big fat Russian accent, way down Lutzen jowls, you know, it's relative to speaking English or speaking Russian. Okay, but what if Russian, you know, es habla español? You know, quiero dos tacos, por favor, господин. You know, yeah, it's this mix of two other languages, one of which is not your own, and you flatline.
Mm-hmm. Or the fact that, like, especially in the West, if it's going to be an evil scientist, he has to have a German accent.
God, this is very good. Well, as of course in Europe, if they want to have an evil villain, he has a Texan accent as often as not, because the villainy is the misapplication of money.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So it's one of these cases going, you know. As I get older, I realize, you know, Cat's Paw and I were talking about this earlier today. The phrase, it's more complicated than that, is probably one of the most universal.
Yeah. Yep, the art of the officer and the leader is looking 100% certain when you're only 51% sure, and then doubting that 51%.
Yep. But you have to look like you know what's going on, because there's people looking at you and looking up to you. And waiting for your.
Indeed. Speaking of curry, considering that you're making saffron masala, does anybody here like curry? I love Indian food, hot Indian food. And if you do, what's the hottest type of curry you ever tried, and was it by mistake? Well, the hottest Indian food I have ever had, I don't know exactly what type of curry it was. It was prepared by a coworker and friend's mother when she came over from India, and she had heard about her son's friend that had helped him get a job, and was really interested in Indian hot food. And Narayan had told me, my mother cooks hot food. She cooks food that's too hot for me. I said, I'm up for the challenge. And holy God, oh my Lord! I mean, I would almost rather do a ghost pepper review. That being said, it was very tasty. But let's see, but my lips were on fire for hours. And let's not talk about what happened next.
Yeah, it gets entertaining. I don't get a chance to try a whole lot of curries because there are several spices that are used in curry that my wife is highly reactive to. So I have to resign myself to like Cajun and Mexican and other types of spicy.
Just watch. Actually, Doro Watt uses, it's called berbere, and it's actually much more closely related to peri peri, which is sort of a pepper.
Yes.
So that's not really a curry. There's another, I gotta forget the name of it. It begins with G. It's a spice that's pretty much unique to Ethiopia. It gives us its flavor. It's somewhat curry-like, but it's not curry.
Yeah.
And curry is not a single spice. It's a mixture of spices.
And there's different varieties for regions and type of dishes. They've made it literally an art form out of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we have a substantial Ethiopian community here in the Bay Area. It's one of the things I love about the Bay Area. You name the nationality, it's here, and they brought their good restaurants with them. And there's a couple of very good Ethiopian restaurants we go to, and I adore Ethiopian food. It's just I would eat there more often, except it's expensive.
That and Afghan.
Yeah.
Afghanistan, they understand how to make a good meal.
Yeah. Do we have a good Thai places late?
Name one.
Oh, Siam Thai.
Yeah.
Pad Thai.
Thai bay leaf and or Thai basil and Sunnyvale.
Krung Thai. We have a lot of good Thai food.
I mean, you want good Russian? We got good Russian. You want good Japanese? We got good Japanese. Chinese? Name your region. We've got it. Good. What we call Mexican? Name the region. We've got it. We've got, Brazilian, we've got, Costa Rican, we've got, Honduran and Cuban. Habanas on Race Street in San Jose. Do die for.
Yep. By the way, it is 9:32, so you're just about at that point.
Yes, we are about the point. More else got it done. Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Banged it out in an hour.
Indeedy.
After doing 3 more before it. Okay, let's check camera.
Whip.
Oh, I love that fade. That fade is so wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
South Bay. Right now, a lot of restaurants a lot of restaurant guides like Fodor's and other travel places are saying Bay Area is the best place in the world to eat. Better than London, better than New York City, better than Paris, because we have so much of everything and of all the different ethnicities.
Right.
If you want it, it's here and it's good.
I live 1 block from El Camino Real. And El Camino Real, which is this thoroughfare that runs all the way from the South Bay all the way up to San Francisco.
Well, it actually runs all the way down to San Diego.
It technically does.
Yeah.
But through the Bay Area, it's about 20 some odd miles. If you want a particular style of food somewhere on El Camino Real, you will find it. It is probably the thoroughfare for foodies.
Absolutely.
Korean style fried chicken to, Indian, Northern Indian style curry to Russian to Italian to Mexican, name the region. Every regions of China you're not even going to be aware of existed.
Talks. I'm already a member of a band. It doesn't play very often. It's the house band of the place I work at. We're called Insider Threat.
Yes.
I play keyboard.
You're a keyboardist? Do you play a keyboard or guitar?
I had a guitar.
You gave it to Mr. Creeper, didn't you?
I gave it to Mr. Creeper because and to him and Black Griffin because it was in the back of my car at the time, and they had arrived at it was like BabsCon 2 years ago, and they were supposed to have a digital
Everfree.
Everfree, you're right, Everfree, and he was supposed to have an electric piano on stage, and they'd forgotten, and I said, "Wait right here."
Yeah.
And hold my beer.
Yes.
Yeah, and just and he's like, "Oh, all right," because it was one of Roland's best guitars. It's just I got it on sale, and I didn't use it, so here you can have it.
And the amazing thing about watching that was the proof that Mr. Creeper is a professional is that he picked us up. He hadn't handled one of these instruments probably maybe in years.
Yeah.
And he just immediately dropped in, and he could immediately do the parts that he needed to do for the performance.
So he finished the performance, and it's like, no, keep it.
Yeah,
because I wasn't using it.
Yeah.
Again, I hate garage queens. I hate having the nice stuff that people let rot because they don't use it or because they put it up on a pedestal.
Right. I'm sorry that driving through the Bay Area gives you panic attacks. I can kind of understand that. I may seem a little bit cavalier about it because I grew up in Los Angeles, so all my how bad can traffic be is all set to L.A.
Yeah, we're calibrated to pain.
Right. It's very Darwinian in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bay Area driving can be quite a thing. But yeah, we need to get ready and start eating lasagna that's been cooling now for a little while.
It should be just about right.
I want to thank everyone who has shown up for tonight. You're great. To all my patrons on Patreon, once again, I want to say this couldn't happen without you guys. And
you're evil, toxic.
But
I don't think it would be your jam. Maybe a beard, but not.
Yeah, it might be. Oh boy, I'd have to ask my wife. That's a spousal question.
What do you think, guys? Epic mutton chops?
Because you have
it'll just come out. The stuff that comes out right here.
You have to understand. When my hair gets long, it gets really frizzy. I mean, we're talking like wacky. You know.
How about one of these things that starts right here, goes up and over, then right here, but nothing on the chin and nothing down here. Just mutton chops.
I'm gonna have to ask I have to ask my wife about this because my wife, because
that tickles.
Yeah, she snuggles with me in bed, and if she says no go,
it don't happen.
I don't matter how much money you guys throw at me, it ain't happening. But I want to thank all you guys who are my patrons. If you're not a patron, hey, $1 a month. I know it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you know what? If everybody on DeviantArt gave me $1 a month,
you'd have a whole bunch of bucks.
I'd be financially set. I'd be able to spend all my time just writing Dreamscape stuff and putting up for you guys. I can get you guys all caught up because I'm in season 4. You guys are still dealing in season 2. But, I want to thank you guys. And if, hey, I enjoyed this tonight, but I can't, do it every month. You might notice a little thing over in the corner called the stream tip. Drop a buck. Drop a buck to it. It actually matters.
If not, don't worry about it.
If not, thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends about us. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
All righty. This is the part where I click the thing and we fade to black.
Good night, folks.
As soon as I can find the right one here.
You click the right button. We're so professional.
We hear you.